Hey everyone, this is Tim back in the storytelling chair. For this one-shot, we are playing The Crushers, a game by Jason Morningstar. In this one-shot, a team of agents handle paranormal threats from a strange dimension. The team must cross into this Dimension X to discover more about the mysterious disappearances plaguing both their organization and their small town. Now, an important part of this game is the verbiage. In this sci-fi universe, there's plenty of advanced, high-tech jargon. If you don't understand the terminology, don't worry. We might not either. Roll with us as the team struggles with interdimensional incursions, and perhaps even themselves. Content warning in the show notes. Today we are playing The Crushers by Jason Morningstar, published by Pulpit Games. And in it, you, my players here, will be playing agents of an organization, specifically the Dina Rosemary Muhammad Foundation. You will play someone who, for some reason, is working for a secret global organization dedicated to protecting our world, the Prime Dimension, ultra-terrestrial horrors from Dimension X. The arm your agent works for is known as the organization called the Dina Rosemary Muhammad Foundation. It is a well-funded and well-managed, with a network of headquarters, regional bases, and safe houses all over the world and beyond. The central administrative offices are in Johor Bahru, Malaysia. There's also a massive secret base on Prince Edward Island in the southern Indian Ocean. Now, our particular agents are working out of Woodford, Vermont, a sleepy resort town near the borders of New York and Massachusetts. While most bases are well-funded and well-managed, in recent years, this particular set of agents in their cell, essentially, have been on a decline. Series of tragic events in the past have led towards a number of agents going missing or leaving or dying. The agents that now man the action team were not always agents. They were support staff, citizens that were drawn into fighting the ultra-dimensional beings. But it's still many days just a sleepy resort town. But it's always there. There's always a presence for you. And it's always a separation between you and everyone else that you talk with, you deal with on a daily basis. They don't understand, and they don't necessarily know all the things that have brought you to this place at this time. But with that, your lives as agents are interspersed. There's moments of intense action, adrenaline, but there's a lot of time when it's just nothing. I would like to hear a little bit about your regular daily lives when you're not out in the field or manning the booth, essentially, compartment underneath the street where you guys live that monitors the signals around the area to let you know of ultra-dimensional threats.
So I'll start. I'm playing Vanessa Bryon, and Vanessa Bryon is probably the least well integrated into the town because due to what's happened to her, she tries to avoid people. And she depends on the organization. Dina Rosemary Muhammad
Foundation, yeah?
Yep. The foundation keeps her safe now, but that's not how it always was. You can tell in the way that she's been changed. So when you look at her, hiding away in the places the foundation has made for her, you see someone monstrous. The adventures that she's been through and the experimentation that a scientist had put her through left her with scraggly fur, misshapen muscles, biotech implanted into her. Well, technology that's incomprehensible by a modern standard. Ultra-dimensional technology that incorporated into a human form to try to make that person stronger, make them more applicable, makes that person more like a creature. At least that's how she feels about it. She feels monstrous. So, on the daily, she's most likely to volunteer to be on watch, to avoid the small, sleepy town, and try to forget the horrors that have gone on in her life.
I imagine there's some interaction with not only your other agents, but the last two of your support staff.
Yes, she will talk to other agents. Other agents have heard likely the story of what she's been through. Even if she doesn't talk about it much herself, it's a relatively known thing that the organization had to put down that rogue scientist and bring her into the fold. And as she's been training to actually become an agent, there's little things that show through who she used to be.
So Al hasn't been in too deep for too long. When he was younger, he was a bodybuilder, wasn't really the smartest guy around, didn't have the greatest grades, but he made an effort. And these days, now nearing his mid-40s, he still has a lot of that same stature he had when he was younger. But, he's developed a bit of a belly, his hair's going gray. What drew him to the company, though, was his son, who had initially joined the military, and upon doing that initial time, got involved with the company. And in his run with the company, while successful, it was short-lived, because something happened to him in Dimension X. They lost track. It took a while for Al to kind of push his way in, but a determined parent. They finally conceded that he needed answers and they needed people. So they let him in, and now he has his watch. But by day, he's still a gym teacher at, Israel Putnam High School. He's got a lot of stereotypes going, but he very much means well as far as the company is concerned. Because of his lack of knowledge of the sciences involved, he spends a lot of his time as an enforcer. He's the muscle of the group, and he's okay with it so long as he has a chance to find his son.
Say you'd spend your days living your life as normal as you try to find what you can of your son.
Gym teacher by day, alien fighter by night.
Fantastic. How about you, Dr. Lazarus?
Dr. Euphemia Penta-Lazarus is a graduate of Vassar University, did her fellowship and doctoral work in medical engineering at MIT. She specializes in reverse engineering restorative medical tech and converting it to destructive ends. Her wife Ezra was Special Forces for the Dina Rosemary Muhammad Foundation and was killed in action. Dr. Lazarus is very slight, made worse by the fact that she seems to have recently forgotten how to care for herself. She has dark hair that has been hacked unevenly, like she did it herself, in order to make room for the implants in her neck and scalp. Her dark gray eyes have an uncomfortable reflective quality as a result of the implants. She is sallow from how little she delves out into the sunlight from her lab. She is detached, cold, and focused. She rarely does watch. Her skills are better used in extradimensional capacities or in a lab. There are people better suited.
So you're probably not getting along well with the other support staff there either, who are trying to get things to move along as normal, and you're resistant to anything that you don't want to do.
My wife was very popular. She was friendly, outgoing. People enjoyed when she was around. Very often they were unsure why she was with me, and I haven't deigned to make my marriage any of their business. But I understand that they are also grieving, and perhaps it would make things easier if I would perhaps engage them, but I don't tread on their grieving process, and I expect that they will not tread on mine.
Very good. Charlie?
Charlie Venkmen is, by all appearances, your average support staff member at the DRM Foundation. He's got a pretty stylish looking crew cut, maybe a 5 o'clock shadow that's grown in a little bit. His cornflower blue shirt, tie, and khaki pants are a little bit rumpled. It looks like he has been a little bit more stressed than he would like as of late. For a long time, he had got a nice cushy position in administration at the foundation, a position that his older brother Zach had gotten him. When Charlie went to school, he went to Yale for business, but his older brother convinced him to try a little bit harder and get a minor in Minkowski physics. Charlie didn't really see a point to that, but trusted his brother. Upon graduation, was hired on to the foundation and realized that his brother had kind of been grooming him for position within the foundation. In recent time, when it seems like everything's been going sideways and agents have been being lost left and right, Zach, who was a very popular, courageous member of one of the action teams, never reintegrated back into our dimension. And since then, members of support teams and administration and all of the background work have been getting promoted into action roles. One that Charlie is not comfortable in. When he is allowed to leave the base of operations, which is these days less and less often, he just tries to go to some of the breweries around Vermont, drink away some of his sorrows, and desperately is trying to get a date from the girl in communications. So far, it hasn't worked out.
The girl in communications, being Elizabeth, goes by Liz, is one of the 2 support staff for this particular team. Designation is Blue 42. Their other support staff is Mike. He takes care of vehicles and equipment and generally keeps everything going and operational. But also means there is no other action teams. There is no other support staff. Blue 42 is the only action operatives at this point. It also means that they're the only ones that can watch the booth and the only ones that can go into action when the threats show up. And there hasn't been any for a couple weeks. Who is manning the booth?
Sounds like I was the person who was often volunteering and had the most variable schedule.
The one that practically lives underground.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, if it happened any time during the school day, I don't believe it would be Al. And if it happened when people might be more social, it might not be Dr. Lazarus.
That's correct.
Not sure if Charlie might get dragged in more often.
I think actually probably, since Dr. Lazarus probably has more important things to do than be manning a booth,
Undoubtedly.
it's probably either you or I. We probably just swap shifts. So when you're not looking at it, I'm looking at it.
We got 2 options for you.
Right. Well, Liz and Mike do also man the booths, partially because when there isn't a lot of threats going on, there isn't a ton. Like, Liz can do her job and manage, basically see the signals coming in, and Mike same way. So, like, there is some downtime. There isn't a full-on alert between the 2 of you all the time.
But we just call you Vanessa?
Yeah, she seems very stubborn to keep to her name. It seems that you've heard rumor that she had once been given a name that suited a prototype more than a person. And so she's very emphatic about her name being what it is.
And we just call you Dr. Lazarus?
Yep.
Okay. So Dr. Lazarus, Vanessa, Al, Liz, Mike, and Charlie. Okay. Do we have a supervisor that, like, remotely checks in on us?
You do have a direct report, a director.
Director M or something like that.
Director Edward.
Director Edwards?
Yeah, Edwards. That's good.
Edwards.
Yeah. Mostly if things go catastrophic, it's when you hear from Director Edwards. Like,
all business, no personal, no personality, and the only time that we're hearing from them is when shit's hitting the fan.
Right.
Gotcha.
The nature of cells to some degrees is that they are semi-self-governing. They file for paperwork. They file for requisitions and everything else like that.
Yeah, no, it's not incompetence on his point. It's just the nature of the foundation.
Correct.
Right.
I can't imagine Dr. Lazarus calls anyone by their first names. That seems very familiar.
Seems a little too personal. In the middle of summer, it seems like many other days. In the basement, it has that feel to it, much like many basements. Even with the air circulation, it's kind of that weird stillness. And there isn't a lot of outside things inside the booth. There's no decorations. There's nothing. It isn't to taint the booth here. It seems to keep the booth possibly from tainting the outside world. There's a huge unspoken separation.
Because the booth is where we can spectate phenomena.
Correct. It's where it is monitoring the nearby areas for temporal tachyon signatures and various other phenomena as they're trying to monitor for ultradimensional incursions.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, this day breaks the overall silence that you've been going through. But maybe it's fortunately. Some of you may wish for the break in the monotony of not being in action. I believe you said you're at your booth, so if you,
It's either me or Charlie.
I mean, you guys could roll if you want.
I have a feeling that Charlie is just leaving the booth and handing it over to you because I'm planning on going out for for one of my brewery trips today.
That sounds true. I can agree to that.
And I think actually Mike's going to come with me this time, which ought to be a neat, change of pace.
Mm-hmm. And as Vanessa is, adjusting the chair, looking over her shoulder to tell the two, yeah, you guys, you have fun out.
Yeah, no, you want me to bring you anything back? Could get you like a growler at the beer place, or
honestly,
maybe a pint of ice cream from like Ben & Jerry's or something?
If you could get me like a maple bar, like something like that.
Yeah. No, that's no problem.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully it's been like it's been for the past couple of weeks. I'm out of here.
And at that moment, a boop boop goes up from the board.
Hang on a sec.
No.
No, it
please.
went boop boop.
Charlie starts kind of massaging the temple,
And
the bridge of his nose, and just kind of no.
As you turn around and look at it, the signals are triangulating, the sensors are processing, and it's slowly but surely becoming clear that there is an event that will take place soon.
I hate to tell you, but that does not look like a system malfunction.
Give it a minute. It might just be a rise in the spike.
That location is coming across pretty clear, dude.
Charlie starts kind of like flipping through just to see if this is maybe kind of a temporal wave that like he's like going through all the data, praying that maybe this is just kind of like a low level interruption.
Charlie, as you're hunched over the desk, desperately trying to make the signal be a false positive, it resolves itself into being Woodford Hollow. There will be an anomaly in Woodford Hollow.
Feel free to prove me wrong.
No, it's Woodford Hollow, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing.
And for you, Charlie, especially, Woodford Hollow carries meaning. Woodford Hollow is where Zach disappeared from.
He never reintegrated back from.
Correct. And every anomaly in the Woodford Hollow area has been a tragedy. It has left agents dead. It has left them coming back as not themselves or not at all.
This one's a bad one.
It's got a lot of sad stories attached to it, but what looks like that has more weight for you.
I think it's got a lot of weight for all of us. Vanessa, can you cross-reference a few of the last anomalies at the Woodford Hollow? I think it's cases 47.9 through 83.7 under the anomalous files.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah, I'll give a call out to the rest of the team, let them know that we got something.
I'll dig into the files and the paperwork.
Vanessa, digging into the paperwork and looking over historical reports, there's always been disappearances that go along with the anomaly. People are removed from an area, basically figured out to be taken across into Dimension X.
Mm-hmm.
And every time the team has ended up having to go across to try to rescue those people and deal with the ultradimensional beings. The newer sensors that you guys have put up in more recent times with the help of Dr. Lazarus and Mike has tried to trigger those sensors to let you guys know before somebody is taken. Specifically with the temporal tachyons, to try to get ahead of it, to see if you guys can get it before it crosses into the dimension.
Do I find anything particular to bring back to Charlie?
Woodford Hollow, cross-referencing it, has a number of the major disappearances the agency has suffered in the last couple of years, including every agent at Blue 42 having lost somebody in the Woodford Hollow area, except possibly yourself.
Vanessa's hunched over the desk, the way that her musculature has shifted with the effects of the dimensions warping her body in those experiments. She kind of has to use the claw of her fingernail to flip through the papers and read. But as she gets more invested and deep, she kind of nods to herself, tries to neatly replace the paperwork, and rejoin the group.
All right, Charlie. Who are you calling in first?
I think the first person he calls in is probably Al. I think Al's probably the one who's got to travel the most to get back to the base. Dr. Lazarus seems to always be present whenever something goes down, or at least she's not far off. Mike should already be on his way here. Unfortunately, it's going to be a work call rather than not, and I think we probably already have Liz in communications. So actually, he's probably going to go see Liz to put the calls out.
Very good. Hey, Charlie, what's going on?
Hey, Lizzie. So we got a spike. It looks like there's something going down in the Woodford Hollow area. If you wouldn't mind getting in contact with Al, and I'll go see if Dr. Lazarus is down in the lab. Mike should be on the way, so once he gets in, just let him know that I guess the plans are off for today.
I'll put a call out to Al and Mike.
Hey, if this doesn't turn out to be anything, which probably isn't the case, but, you know, if you want to come out to the brewery with us, you know, we could have all three of us. Might not be a bad time.
I don't know, Charlie. Everything that's ever been in Woodford Hollow is bad. I don't know.
Right. Well, put the call out to Al, and let's just cross fingers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Charlie.
Yeah.
How about yeah? If you guys come back, I'll go out with you. I'll go out with the both of you.
Okay. All right. Sounds like a plan.
Good. I hope that it means you guys you'll come back.
Yeah. No, we're definitely coming back.
All right. Well, I'll see you then.
Charlie kind of awkwardly nods and heads out to go down to where Dr. Lazarus hangs out in the labs.
And as he exits, he notices that Vanessa had stopped with some notes scrawled down, but decided not to enter the room, to follow him down to the lab.
Oh, hey, Vanessa, what you got noted down there?
Basically, it summarizes to the Hollows being a point of convergence. A lot of the missing people, the most dangerous cases we've had, but especially missing people that have connections to people who work now in this organization.
Charlie kind of flips through some of the notes and data that you've got. God damn, we've got like several UDE dispersals on this list. It's insane. And why all the Alphean wave spikes? I don't...
Hopefully we don't find out too much information this time around.
I don't think Blue 242 can afford to have too much more go on. Do you think we should put out a call to Director Edwards?
Not until we know whether we can handle this or not.
Well, if we can't handle this, there's not going to be anyone to call Dr. Edwards.
Yeah, but what's the chances of him actually being helpful?
Charlie kind of looks off a little bit dazed and nods like, yeah, you're not wrong.
We can write out a record of what we're about to do and make sure it's accessible to the Foundation so that, if you don't get to go on your excursion, there'll be a record.
Look, I'm just trying to make the best of a bad situation here. He kind of looks over at you and kind of looks a little bit guilty.
Vanessa shakes her head. There's like a bit of bitterness in it, like she realized by your reaction how sour and how angsty she was being, and she kind of looks down. No, you've got a life to live, so you should.
You want to call it that? This used to be a good gig. Let's just go talk to the doctor, yeah?
Yeah. And we make our way to Dr. Lazarus.
All right. Al.
You.
Your cell phone both starts ringing, and it seems like it's received a text message.
I fumbled with the phone, check on the text message.
Text message is from Liz. It says 999, which you're aware is a code for action team.
I pick up the phone.
Hey, Al.
You.
We've got something.
Yeah, I just got the message. What's going on?
It's Woodford Hollow.
I'm going to have to get dressed. Hold on. Okay, so when are we meeting?
Get down to the HQ.
Now?
Now.
Yeah, okay. All right, I'll be right on it. I'll see you soon.
All right. See you soon, Al.
Peace.
Peace.
Thanks.
So, yeah, what are you doing at this time?
I would say he was finicking with the school grading system trying to enter data and was struggling and kind of welcomes the sudden distraction. So he gets up, dusts off his like bright blue jeans, sneakers, and button-down shirt, and goes rushing off to the old van to make his way and prepare for war.
Escape the drudgery of the grading system.
Yeah. just-
Do you think that Al would remember that Woodford Hollow and what that means about Eddie? Or do you think it doesn't quite occur to him?
I don't think it clicks right away.
Okay.
I think right now he's just following the routine and just being a bit of a machine about his approach.
Just a regular call, just another job.
Yeah, and then once it all sets in, he'll have to face that.
All right. So you put your stuff together and hurry on to go to the base, which is actually located below one of the buildings they've given you, unless you've decided to keep someplace else as a thing. You basically can just go through your own basement to enter into the secret organizational bunker.
Yeah, I stop at the basement. I'll put on the silvery spandex and combat gear that I need.
Keeping a locker nearby.
Strap the OB shotgun to my back. Put on the helmet.
A combination of super science and old school methodology.
Right.
Very good. And you start your journey to meet up with the rest of the team. Dr. Lazarus, what are you doing?
Dissecting.
What?
Dissecting what?
If you can't identify it, I'm not going to do your job for you.
I'm an extra-dimensional being. I think you need to identify.
She's dissecting what is thought to be the corpus callosum of the equivalent thereof of one of these extra-dimensional beings from Alpha Gamma sector.
All right. From a nearby, a recent action team thing, or something that's been kicked around in formaldehyde for a while?
No, this is fairly recent. This is one of the more recent incursions that actually took out one of our larger contingents of boots on the ground folks.
Right. And it died, but it seems like the agents also died.
Yes.
And what is this dissection telling you?
What it's telling me is how the hemispheres of what we assume is the brain communicate, but I'm actually of the opinion at this point that this may not actually be the main brain of this thing. This may be a secondary or tertiary brain that regulates the more optional emotional responses.
While in the middle of your thought, the door opens up and Charlie and Vanessa start coming in.
She does not sway. She just kind of like...
I'd like to think that the door is on the other side of a plexiglass view window.
Sure.
And that we get up to the window and kind of tap on the window. Charlie sees what's going on and kind of lowers his eyes and kind of covers his mouth. He doesn't do too well with excessive amounts of viscera.
Vanessa, on the other hand, is kind of skulking and pacing, like this brings back bad memories.
I think not too far off and in the corner, a very old and faded sign says, "Do not feed the scientists."
Yep. What do you need, Mr. Venkmen, Miss Byron? Would it be helpful if I covered the specimen?
Charlie hits a little intercom button. Please, if you don't mind.
She puts her tools down, puts a medical covering over the specimen, begins the process of taking off gloves, taking off her mask. As she turns to wash her hands, it's clear she's going to come out and talk to you, rather than invite you both in or have this conversation through intercoms.
By the way, it's just Charlie. You don't have to...
Yes, I have it in my notes, Mr. Venkmen. Thank you for the reminder, though.
Right. Vanessa spotted a pretty significant anomalous spike on some of our targeting data. It looks like the Woodford Hollow is acting up again.
There's kind of a pause, and then the blinds, the mechanically operated blinds, go down behind the plexiglass. There's another pause, and the sound of the decontamination system engaging just behind a bulkhead. And after a moment, this tiny woman, probably about 5'1", comes out with a data pad of sorts, engaging with the data pad rather than making great amounts of eye contact.
Well, it looks like the Minkowski curve is accelerating at a point where we're going to see a significant breach. If it doesn't slow down in the next 5 minutes, we're probably going to be needing to deploy an action team.
Some anomaly coming through.
But cross-referencing all of the other times we've seen Minkowski curves in this area, I don't think it's likely. I don't think it's ever actually slowed down to the point where we're not looking at some kind of...
Mr. Venkmen, I realize Minkowski curves are your specialty, but when you have a hammer, not everything is a nail. So are you certain this is Minkowski, or could this be Alphen wave spikes? Could this be non-orthogonal quantum depletion? What is it we're actually looking at here, and why do you need to interrupt my work here?
He looks a little bit like he got thwacked upside the side of the head.
Actually, Vanessa, kind of steps forward, looking at the doctor at that, and says, all of us are needed for anything. We're what's left.
And what will my needless death prove for the organization? If I go in unprepared because someone didn't give me the correct amount of information that I need.
Well, based on what we're looking at, this is more than likely a pseudopositional breach. We'll have more information in the next 15 minutes. Al's on the way. But if it is the case, it is probably going to be an action team deployment. I'll make sure we get all of the information so that you're a little bit more prepared, Doctor.
Very good. Is this going to be a combat excursion, or is this going to be an information extraction and...
Vanessa, you know better. You looked at all the cross-references for Woodford Hollow.
When he says Woodford Hollow, she stiffens a little bit, but otherwise...
You're familiar with Woodford Hollow. You partially set up a better early detection system specifically for the Woodford Hollow area.
I saw your name in the paperwork. You know well that some of our worst disappearances have happened there. We should be prepared for combat. And if you want more help, like I said earlier, you can try and ring the director up, but I don't. Maybe you could be successful there.
I'm not sure more cooks in the kitchen is what I need. Shall we be on our way?
Once we got Al.
Very well. And she sort of goes to a locker that's nearby, and it seems like where she keeps her Go mission stuff. She grabs a fairly advanced first aid kit, both mundane and extra-dimensional. She does a little sort of tickle on the back of her head to engage all of the implants that she seems to have had. They are in varying degrees of healing. Most of them seem pretty good, but some of them seem like maybe she did this in the last day or two.
Is she fully kitted out with cybernetics, or?
Probably most of the left side of her head and the back of her neck are twinkling, kind of diminishes how harsh they look, but
There's a sheen.
Yep, there's lights that are processing. There are clearly some
input jacks.
Yep. And she doesn't seem like it bothers her very much. She doesn't seem to be in pain. Her hair is hacked in places because she has almost certainly done this herself.
What do you look like when you're suiting up for war?
She puts on sort of a science jacket. It denotes her as a medic on the field. There's been a mixed bag of success with letting the other side know who the medics are. Oftentimes they're targeted almost immediately. Other times they're the last ones to be hit.
It's so hard to predict with anything interdimensional. So little we know about this realm and what kind of creature or person we might be facing.
Yep. Well, and morality is not a clause exclusive to humanity. But what she does know is that if she does not do things on her part to let the people on her team know what her role in this is at a glance, she may be expected to do things that are not in her wheelhouse.
As it starts being time to suit up, Vanessa goes and finds a pair of Higgs negative combative gloves, affectionately nicknamed Nux. They've been adapted to fit over her. Her physique is honestly very reminiscent of like a wolf man or that kind of thing, where the way that she's been warped and the way that she's been built, these gloves kind of fit over these wolfish claws. And due to how she's changed, she can't quite fit armor. So some of the other preparations she makes are things like grabbing a serving of what is known at this compound as monster sauce, a liquid that she'll make sure to ingest when you're on the other side that will further amplify everything that's going on with her. I think everyone is gathering their machines. It fits around your neck, right?
I mean, you guys can have it wherever you want. I've also thought about them as like large wrist type devices, like
Pip-Boy flavors.
yeah, it could be a Pip-Boy type deal. It could be, something that's, worn around your neck and projects like a HUD type device.
Do you mind describing more about what they look like, especially if they have the commensal feature?
Commensal features, I believe, are attached to your like neck and head.
Mm-hmm. Like a neck brace.
Yeah.
Kind of like a rundown of what the machines are and what the commensal features are.
It's a machine that kind of like wraps around with a number of like spidery appendages that lock together around your neck. Yes.
Are we able to make up weapon names?
Yes.
Good.
But it kind of goes up and over like the base of your skull and partially there, and it seems to briefly stab into the back of your neck as it interfaces with you on a very personal level. I imagine that you probably wear some sort of like neck or chest based machine just because your arms and everything like that are very much part of your combat. So you probably have something on your chest that can like project in front of you or and stuff like that when you need to.
Yeah, that sounds right.
I imagine it's mostly like a rectangle that's kind of has a number of straps to hold on to you and keep it secure.
Where Dr. Lazarus is smaller and it sounds to me like she's very sort of apart from the way that she's not taking care of herself, precise in her instruments. So she might like have those hacked up bits of hair, but you're orderly in my imagination.
She is mechanically correct. She is, the tech side of things is very orderly, is a good way of putting it. One piece of equipment she does carry separate. It can be integrated into her implants if needed, but she does carry a white light resonator, which is something that rebuilds tissue and restores organic cells back to a functioning state. So that way if a team member is harmed or exposed to something, she gives basically the immune system a boost.
I kind of imagine that you have like a backpack kind of rig where with like the hiking one with the belt around it, and you have a number of tools and everything else like that attached to the belt, and the backpack rig carries all your like normalized medical supplies and maybe testing supplies and everything else for
she has a
field
collection
engagements.
kit in the backpack.
Yeah.
The one odd part about it is that every 3 or 4 seconds, her eyes give a strange reflective quality, indicative that her equipment for combat is online.
I imagine that your kits actually attach magnetically and stuff like that, so they like chunk on and off when you need them.
It's a combo system of electricity and magnets, because having exclusively one or the other has proven to be problematic when other team members have gotten stuck to walls from the magnets or had the electricity shorted out and all of their equipment fell off. So it's a redundant system.
Very good. How about you, Charlie?
Charlie just has a pretty basic outfit for a Foundation field agent. He's got the standard light armor with integrated stealth overlay to help mask some of his UDE signature. He has standard issue Glock pistol affixed to his belt. It looks like it's seen very little action. Yeah, it's just, very, very matte, no scratches on it. He has his machine affixed to his wrist, and it looks like it's augmented with a superposition resonator. And the only other gear he carries is a set of Einstein-Rosen goggles, which help him view into the veil for anomalies, and a full bulky veil scanner and Everett phone. both devices for helping to track information in the field, including the positions of chipped agents, which Charlie is very much a chipped agent. He kind of looks at the scanner a little bit quizzically. Vanessa, are you chipped?
Her shoulders go up like a defensive dog's might, and she lifts up her arm.
Oh no, never mind. It looks like Dr. Lazarus, this scanner must be broken. Neither of you guys are showing up here.
Oh, I'm not chipped.
Wait, you're not chipped.
I ripped my chip out a long time ago.
Neither
and
of you
can
were chipped?
Why would I give the enemy access to my knowledge of where my person is?
The enemy don't have scanners.
Yes, they do.
You can see on Vanessa's arm, like a pale spot in where the fur would take over, a badly healed scar from when she would have ripped out the microchip.
I think it's wild speculation to assume that they have Foundation scanning equipment.
It would be wild speculation if you think for a minute that they don't have their own and that our technology didn't come from what they have.
Oh, all right. Oh, it looks like Al's here.
Hey, what's up, puppy? How you doing? He comes over and he gives Charlie a big pat on the back.
Good to see you, Al.
So where are we headed?
Looks like there's a anomaly centered on the Woodford Hollow.
His eyes kind of sadden a bit as something clicks. Yeah, that was mentioned. All right, so what's going on, big man?
Well, I'm still getting all the printouts from all of the information, but right now it looks not good.
A lot of deaths and disappearances in the area, especially around, seemingly in connection with people here, with agents that have disappeared, with even agents that are still around.
UDE dispersals?
Tell me about it. I got business there myself. His shoulders kind of sink a bit. Al is like 6'4", huge, clearly was like a bodybuilder in his life, thick neck.
Was.
But that was like 20 some odd years ago. And he's got like a bit of a belly now, and he's aged.
So he's got a powerlifter's physique.
But now he's got more of a powerlifter's physique. And
He only works out 4 days a week
those
now.
massive arms look like they can rip a phone book in half.
Not only does he have massive arms, he's got big hands.
Big ass
Big
hands.
hands.
And
That's the big hands chair.
now he's currently strapped in what looks like kind of silvery spandexy clothes. But when it gets mentioned where they're headed, he goes to this like go bag that he brought with him, and he starts putting on these additional parts that start snapping onto his suit, and lights start turning on. He starts strapping on all of these weapons, and the last one he pulls out is, by God, something that looks similar to a law rocket. He puts it on his back, straps on his big metal gauntlet that's meant to help him pass into other dimensions. Some sort of device that's an attachment. It actually looks similar to what Charlie's carrying. Despite him having kind of like a very soft, friendly smile and big brown eyes, this sternness starts to form in his features.
Dr. Lazarus, as you put your equipment together, you start going over the data being fed to you by the booth, and it is clear that there's going to be another incident in Woodford Hollow.
What's the timetable on that?
Soon. You're actually more ahead of it than you are by usual. Your precautions have been valuable in this case. You are ahead of it. It hasn't happened yet.
All right, we actually may get the drop on this one if Mr. Warren could secure transport. We can probably get there before the incident happens and hopefully cut this off before it becomes too dangerous.
Coming over your shortwave communications, Mike's like, coming right up. Why don't you guys meet me in the garage? I've got the truck.
Thank you, Mr. Warren.
All right, Laz, so what are you thinking? What's the protocol for this kind of thing?
Go quiet unless there are extra dimensionals on site. Observe, and then take down.
Observe for what? Just anything shows up, we shoot?
Observe to see what the best method for taking it down would be.
All right.
What works for an Elfin gate may not work for a Manowski.
What?
What works for the garden gate may not work for the vault door. Some things work better for some gates than others.
Yeah, I got you. Just let me know
I will let you know where
which
to
one
point.
it is and what to
Charlie,
close the door with, I guess.
Charlie's kind of scanning through one of his handheld tablets to look at all of the cross references that we've pulled up. There's really little information on what actually goes down at Woodford Hollow, right?
Correct.
This may be an opportunity to actually get information on what happens before these incidents occur.
You mean answers?
Yeah.
However you
Like
want to look
where
at
our
it.
people are.
I know where my person is.
Answers to what even happened to him. None of the cross references have any actual concrete information about anything. We don't have any sightings. We don't have any audio. Nothing.
But no answers.
Correct. Shall we?
Sounds like Al and I should be making sure you guys can get those answers.
I will ensure that you're
How
capable
about-
of defending.
How about we all just make sure we come back from this one? I might actually have a date if we do.
I will.
Yeah, good for you.
I will ensure my best work to ensure you may pursue your hedonistic endeavors, Mr. Venkman.
Hedonistic.
I just
What
want
do you think they're gonna do?
Drink and have sex.
I think this is the point
We
where
can
Mike
only
pulls-
hope.
Mike pulls it.
Hey, Mike, what's up?
Hey, Al, how's it going?
Not bad. I mean, all things considered.
Hey, why don't you sit up front with me?
Yeah, you bet.
And a box truck comes around, and it's basically got 2 bucket seats in the front, and it leads into the back. And the back is full of equipment. There is not a lot of room for extra equipment. There is just a bunch of positional relays, an interdimensional jackhammer, everything else to either secure the dimension in and around the truck, or provide opportunity for the agents to delve into Dimension X.
Shotgun.
You're too late.
Called it.
Hereby request by Mike.
Driver gets in charge there. You're in the back, darling.
It's a bit of a roll of the eyes, and Vanessa does her best to fit in the back.
There's room back there. There's a small bench area for a team outside of the equipment, but there's no place to bring extra replacement equipment or anything else like that. It's basically whatever you can carry around your body, and that's about it.
Next time, Vanessa, I promise.
I don't believe you.
I got these stiff legs.
I kind of remember last time's next time.
Just demand
Then I owe
the
you too. Thanks for remembering. I don't have the memory like you do.
demand the right of rock paper scissors next time.
Hey, from last time, that AI, the commensal that came in my system, she's been calling herself Tony, but just want to let you guys know that if I ask her, or if you guys are in too much danger, she's gonna take over, and I'm not gonna be in control anymore.
Tony is optimized for combat, regardless of collateral damage. We were still working on that when you volunteered to take the personality. Yes, good to know. Thank you.
Yeah,
Wait, who decides if we're that deep in combat, though?
Tony does. Tony's an artificial intelligence.
I think the common cells you can
He just takes over without...
She.
I could ask her to take over.
And you can say no, too, right?
That's kind of... And Vanessa's expression goes a little blank, and she's looking at Dr. Lazarus for answers.
It's a largely intuitive-based system. Again, Ms. Byron has volunteered to be a subject for this experiment.
They don't always attach. It's not always permanent, but...
But often that's indicative of a good working partnership between the AI and the host.
Yeah, or it's an indication of me being more malleable after
It's like a
everything.
parasite, right?
If you view it as
Read
such.
about those.
So let me get this straight. You've hooked yourself into an AI system, but you're refusing to be chipped.
Well, the commensal already works with you. You've got a chance of getting one too. Has it never popped up?
No, I don't think they've offered it to me.
So
Does
no
my
one.
boy have something like this?
That was not mentioned in my files. But he may not have been part of the experiment while I was overseeing it.
Oh, looks perturbed at the idea.
I can, if you'd like, I can dig into this.
Yeah, I'd like that. Thank you.
So, just to be clear, the common sol, currently you can take it on and off. At the end there's always a chance that at some point or another it becomes permanent and takes over your body.
To be clear, Tony's presence within you will leave a resonance, but you are capable of expelling her when you remove the equipment.
So she's a setting right now. She's not fused in.
She's a guest.
All right, so ups and downs. I'm thinking she's more useful right now.
Given the strong nature of the bond you have with her, she will likely comply with what you desire, not what you say, what you desire. And you need to be monitoring and mindful of your own instincts.
I just read what Tony does. I'm sorry.
That's why you're getting the warning.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Did you read what it does?
No.
She's a werewolf.
When triggered, double all damage agent can do with damage and without do damage without weapons, ignore trauma and blood loss, and cannot die. After 10 minutes, lose 10 resilience, and now the agent can die.
If Tony has been given control, what we should do is give you space, or attempt to send you back through to the restricted area.
Yeah, that matches with my experience.
That will be safer for you as well.
Anybody else got tricks up their sleeve?
This conversation is happening as Mike drives you away.
Yep.
There may be an anomalous chip reading on your scanners, Mr. Venkmen. You should ignore them. They are not relevant.
Anomalous how?
They belong to a dead person, not someone actually on the team.
So when he's looking at his scanners, what does he see?
Codename Agent. She gives a, long, suffering sigh. Agent 69420, deceased, at my location. It does not trigger all the time.
Okay. But it is at your location.
Yes.
Well, that's still somewhat useful.
It can't be interacted with in any way. And it is not reliable.
Well, an unreliable signal is better than no signal if we're trying to find you.
Absolutely. You don't want to get lost out there.
There's more of a place for me out there than here. So. And she kind of puts a boot on the bench and stands up. The boot on the bench is just sort of to stabilize herself as she examines the equipment and looks like she is desperately trying to change the subject.
Blue 42 Communications, this is Blue 42 Actual. Do you have our superpositioning on file yet?
Blue 42, we've got your locations pinned down. Blue 42 support will be creating temporary files at location.
All right. Guys, it looks like we're all on the grid and ready to go. Mike, do you have an ETA for when we hit the site?
Yeah, we're about 5 minutes out. And those that can see out some of the windows, the back windows a little bit, Al in the front, you move from a resort town into the woods. Woodford Hollow is a very, very empty area of Woodford at this point. It contains some larger houses and things that would be of value to people buying property, but it stays empty. There seems to be just a general feeling for those going there. Many of these houses have been for sale. There are people that are still living in Woodford Hollow, but there's not a lot. There is, you can see by various degrees that there's for sale signs or just lawns that are haphazardly maintained when you do pass houses, but a number of trees and everything else like that exist, essentially cohabitating with these houses. And they're not necessarily terribly near each other. You're kind of in a back road situation.
Mr. Venkmen, I know you're missing your drinking party, but I don't think now is the time.
I don't think one beer's going to hurt anybody.
I suppose we'll wait and see.
Well, if Director Edwards really disapproves, he can let us know.
As you have your beer out, Vanessa takes out a vial. And it's got this strange liquid, but you all know what it is. It's what's known as monster sauce. And it has this awful green tinge to it. And she's not taking it just yet. She'll take it once we're on site and ready to make the transition through the veil and into the next dimension. But she is getting ready for that awful taste.
And really, do you think it's going to be any worse than that stuff?
Yeah, Laz, that's the ooze stuff, right?
Yes. I believe the code name given by my predecessor was TMNT2.
You killed Garrett.
It was probably has all kinds of secrets I don't want to know about.
It has proven exceptionally useful, except if you are crushed by a pier.
And on that note, you pull up in front of a fairly large house and substantial lawn as you pull into the driveway.
Probably safer to have a beer. All right. I think we're here.
Charlie passes a beer over to Ramirez.
Martinez.
I'm sorry. Martinez. I want to keep on saying Ramirez. It's going to fuck me up so bad.
It's because you're looking at Lex and you know.
Martinez accepts. Thank you, Charlie. Ever the team player. It's good stuff.
All right, Dr. Laz, help me sync up all the machines.
Do we have word from communications on whether the residence is currently occupied and by who?
Communications here. We've got the code for the lock. We are paying them for ghost hunting.
Through Black Cat.
Through our Black Cat fund, correct.
Yes.
I'm sure.
And the residents are out of the area, correct?
Correct. This is a deal we made to the real estate agent. The residents are good with it. They're not here, and nobody is currently renting.
Very good. We can go loud if need be. All right. I'm going to start the alpha and heteroscopy. Let me know when the connection is made on your side.
All right.
Superpositioning of the non-orthogonal quantum dimension.
All right. We're going on this side.
All right. And the last part, we're green on your side, correct?
We're green.
UDE, agent immersion.
Let me take a look at the surface levels real quick.
Please do, Mr. Venkman.
Charlie puts his goggles down and starts kind of looking over across to make sure that there's nothing on the surface level waiting for us.
You're not seeing anything directly in and around the house. The walls of the house seem to be blocking signals, but that's pretty normal. Mainly looking at, a slightly overgrown lawn in a house that's well maintained with a garage in the back that you guys are halfway to. There's a iron fence around the front that's mostly decorative. It looks like a normal, large house out in the country.
Call it. We heading in the front door?
Communications, what's the ideal entry point?
Lock and code are on the front door.
All right.
Surface depth is clear.
All right, Mr. Martinez, Ms. Byron, if you care to, the code for the front door is 389427.
I got it.
All right.
I saunter up. What's the code again?
389427.
38942 and 7. We're good. I punch it in.
Very good. Blue 42, you're fully synced.
Thank you, communications. Communications, do we have a read on any potential incursion so far, now that the lock is disengaged?
Nothing coming across so far.
All right.
I've got the veil scanner online. We're looking clear at the moment, Doc.
Thank you, Mr. Venkman. Mr. Martinez, Ms. Byron, make entry at your leisure.
As you cross across the yard, you find yourself moving from a sunlit driveway into a shaded yard, and the whole house seems to be covered in the shade of the trees. It's dark. There doesn't seem to be any lights on.
All right.
If you require visual stabilization, now would be the time to utilize it. Turn on your flashlights if you need to.
Oh, turn on my flashlight.
Another click of a flashlight.
All right. You find yourselves at the front door. The lock has now been disengaged, and
I open it and go.
breaching the entryway, you see yourself in front of a staircase moving upstairs. Rooms to your left and right. It seems like a kitchen straight past the stairways in the back.
First room clear.
Vanessa's watching Alice back as they make it their way through.
Once the team has the first entry clear, Charlie will hustle up behind them, and once he gets into the house, he'll kind of reopen his scanner and start taking a look at some of the data coming in from the interior of the house.
Vanessa shifts her position to look out for Charlie.
Dr. Lazarus follows up, takes the back of the group, partly because she is very small and can't keep up with their steps quite as easily, partly because being in the back means she can keep an eye on their tail.
As you're scanning with the goggles, you start noticing there are spikes coming. It's happening soon.
I'm seeing some spikes. It looks like we have guys. It's getting pretty aggressive here.
Communications, what would be the ideal point to hit to slow the incursion?
Unclear. We can't get readings.
Mr. Venkmen, can you point out an area that looks less structurally viable than others?
Structurally viable? You mean like for just stepping over Dimension X, or?
If we were to slow this down.
To be perfectly honest, based on this data, I'm not sure which direction it's coming at us from.
What if we check the basement and just work our way up?
Oh, God, I didn't want you to say that.
I think we should clear this floor first so nothing comes down to trap us in the basement.
Yeah, of course.
Well, with that, sounds like we'd want to make sure everything up is covered.
How pressed for time are we? Because, I got
Very.
this feeling that it's in the basement.
If we go from the basement, move our way up, we know that nothing creeps up from the basement.
Exactly.
Same
All right.
logic.
Take the basement, I'll keep watch at the top of the stairs.
Should we perhaps send somebody over, a team over into Dimension X?
I'm willing to go, but I'm not sure that's viable at this point.
Let's get a look at the basement before we split up. If there's no sign there, then maybe we should be checking Dimension X.
All right.
Sound good?
I'll go to the dimension if we need. Been there enough.
Martinez, Byron, go ahead and take point.
All right. I'll walk the premises first inside. Once we get to the door down to the basement, I go to open it.
Communications, are you receiving data on what we're seeing?
Communications is unreachable. It is not abnormal. Spikes inside the area make it very hard for communications to get very far.
I think we're losing our radio signal.
Yep, we've got an elfin spike, folks. We don't have communications currently. Continue to proceed.
All right, entering basement now.
Very good.
That's awkwardly. Heads on down.
The basement door opens to a not rickety wooden stairs, but every board creaks under your weight especially.
Yeah, I don't notice the difference.
Yeah. There's a light switch that doesn't turn on a light.
Duck my head.
The stairs seem to be directly located underneath the stairs going upstairs. You're moving down into the black darkness.
Wave a flashlight around.
It does little to cut through the darkness, even the high-powered, but...
Is in an unusual kind of way,
No, pretty normal. It's just big. It's just dark. Nothing abnormal about these shadows yet.
Dr. Lazarus takes out a UV flashlight to provide an extra layer of maybe there's clues hidden this way.
You find yourself down there, and the smell is almost reminiscent of the booth. The same kind of stillness, though a lot more humid.
Basement's booth stale.
Is this normal that places smell like places we've been? Or is this just an odd coincidence?
It's hard to say.
Coincidence.
Eyes and senses sharp, folks.
Bringing down the goggles.
Yeah, I'm taking this stink as a bit of a clue.
Yeah, I am too.
Charlie heads down to the basement and starts kind of scanning around with some of his more developed equipment for getting a better layout of what we're looking at.
Olfactory memories are the hardest ones to replicate if they've got this technology. That is interesting.
As you're checking out around the basement, you see old furniture, washer and dryer, the furnace, all these kind of things. But it's a combination of tightly packed and spiderweb down there. There's some paths to get around. There's old clothes and mirrors, and it's just, even with the flashlights especially, kind of disconcerting. It's hard to tell what can and can't be a threat because there's so many weird looking items around just because of the stacks of stuff that happens to be here. Boxes with names that mean nothing, and you're checking with your goggles. The spikes are coming.
Is the scanner picking up any pierced areas between the veil?
Not currently, but as you're going through, you start to remember that one of the major factors of this is there's always a disappearance that's involved with these. There's always people that are taken in Woodford Hollow.
Communications. You said that we were checked in on this location with getting the family out of here?
Mike here. Yeah, that's what she said.
Oh, they came through this time.
Well, wait a minute, but we just got these calls through. Are we looking at some kind of temporal anomaly here? Like, we shouldn't have had time to check in on this place.
I'm not seeing any temporal anomaly here. Doing a standard sweep. I've got people.
Where?
Top floor.
Martinez, Venkmen, check the top floor.
You got it. Let's go, Venkman.
Yeah, I'm right behind you.
Byron, you're with me.
Byron settles into a defensive posture so that the scientist can go about her research.
As he heads back to the first floor. Hey, Charlie, who's your date with? What's going on? Tell me the story.
Charlie kind of grabs his little mic bead. And it's like,
She hot?
it might be
What's
Liz. Keep it under wraps. It might be Liz.
Liz. Oh, all right, okay. Good for you.
I've been trying long enough. She's been dodging me. I was about ready to give up when she said, as long as we come back from this one, we should be good.
Mr. Venkman, you uncovered your mic.
That wasn't like sarcasm when you said it right, though, because that can go both ways. All right, found the second flight of steps. We're headed up now.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Martinez.
As you're going up the stairs, it seems to be like a floral wallpaper and a standard like wooden banister and everything else like that.
This place is in bad shape. Looks at the wallpaper like, ugh.
You know, Miss Penta-Lazarus, it's good that they're trying to be happy. Vanessa's not good at the sentence. She's like automatically very awkward with it, like comparing it, like the external and internal comparison to her, to the situation is just apparent.
Dr. Lazarus covers her mic. I didn't want him to be embarrassed in front of her.
And Vanessa kind of does like one of those big slow nods, but she's kind of looking at the doctor like,
His morale will be much better if he's not also thinking that his courting buddy thinks he's ridiculous.
and you get like a bit of a look. You get like a bit of a like, listen, if I have to be the guy to tell you that you're being negative, is sort of the tone of the look.
I want his attention here so he gets to have his date.
She shakes her head and
She
goes
is
about her
deliberately
business.
covering her mic the
Yeah.
whole time.
Yeah. No, but that's why Vanessa's giving you like silent cues and kind of moving with you. Vanessa seems to think that you're going to move a bit closer to the other party as they progress up the stairs.
I think we should keep watch down here.
All right.
So you clear the first story landing. What Mike really meant was this floor, not the attic. So they're somewhere on this floor. Two things happen. All the spikes converge. The dimensional X beings are crossing over. And that's at the time that you hear noise down the hall.
We've got a breach.
Charlie, get your pistol out.
Support, we are moving to engage. We have a breach.
Isolating.
She gives Vanessa a nod that she's to take point.
And she does so.
All right, Al. You're looking down a hallway. You hear there's a breach.
Charlie, look alive.
Charlie kind of like drops the scanner and pulls his pistol, but still has his big bulky goggles down around his head.
Stay behind cover. And I start walking down the hall. Flashlight now. In this dimension, my means of dealing damage is the super thin power armor I have. But it's as good as a gun. I just kind of make my way down, ready to clock anything that jumps out at me.
All right, as you're slowly moving down the hall, you get a sense of the sound of ripping.
The sun's ripping.
It's very odd.
Ripping what?
Fabric or flesh.
A combination of
Metal.
a lot of things, but most similar to like if you could tear plastic and like strong plastic, like the crunching, crackling kind of tear. That's what you're kind of hearing. And let me rephrase. You're not hearing it. You're sensing you're hearing it.
Okay.
It is
Like it's being uploaded into your brain, but it's not an external
Right.
sound.
right. And at the same time, you start hearing screaming.
I will go through whatever door is between me and the screaming.
Okay. As you rush down the hall, you kick open the door, and you kind of see a tear into Dimension X there. And what you can see as you burst through the door is 2 pairs of legs sticking out of the leftover part of this dimension, and a number of ghost entities kind of crawled out of the dimension itself. So formless humanoids with no real legs but arms and inhuman faces, glowing eyes that seem to have moved into our dimension. The legs look like they belong to regular people.
Okay.
Like someone's being dragged in.
Like someone is being dragged in.
I got contact. I'm going to grab the person and just pull them back across.
Sure. I will give me a power roll,
I have an 11.
which is under your power.
Sure is.
All right, you grab hold onto a pair of legs and you start hauling it back. Charlie,
You said there was 2 pairs of legs?
there are 2 pairs of legs and 4 ghost entities.
Oh, yeah. Charlie's going to gasp at what he sees and shout to Martinez, grab the other legs, as he fires his pistol into the ghost entities.
All right, give me a power roll.
12, which is my special effect, which is I immobilize the target, I think, as we struggle physically.
Is that under your power?
It is equal to my power, and I'm actually -1 on my roll, so it would actually be 11. My value is 11, which is under my power, which is 12. But the number on the die is 12, which is a physical moment.
The basic general rule here is everyone here is rolling 3d6. They all have power based on the equipment they brought with them. They've described some of them, though it is hard to tell between all of the other science jargon that has been involved here. But things like the machine, the superposition, the monster juice, the monstered up are all power enhancers. You have to roll at your power or under to succeed, and then you do damage based on the number you rolled. And if you go over, bad things happen. If you go over your power, your attack fails, and there are effects for that. And that is the general gist of the system. There is a special effect when you roll at any time, and all the players have chosen different ones. Charlie here has physical moment, which means on top of successfully attacking the ghost entity, the target is temporarily immobilized or entangled with the agent.
Which to me makes sense, because I'm definitely trying to hold back these ghost entities while Martinez grabs the legs out of this dimensional tear.
Charlie comes in, shooting his pistol and trying to physically hold back the ghost entities that are within our dimension, seemingly tangible, and is entangled at least one of them and being somewhat of a nuisance to others.
Hell yeah, Charlie.
Vanessa?
All right, Doc, what do you need from me?
Are we on the scene at this point?
No, you guys are at the bottom of the stairs. Vanessa might be able to get there in time based on her increased physicality, but I feel like you're going to...
I have a metabolic implant,
Okay,
so everything takes less energy for me to do.
sure.
So theoretically, I could probably pace her.
All right. I mean, if you both want to get there and try to affect the scene, go for it.
Vanessa, if she looks over, does she see the doctor eyeing the stairs and wondering, can they make it in time?
Yes.
So without actually following up on the question of, Doc, what do you need from me? Vanessa reaches over and kind of pulling her into this monstrous assist to get the both of them up the stairs as quickly as possible. On the other hand, I'm not certain. What's your call? Does the monster juice have to be drank before you would enter another dimension? Or is it good for a scene? How's your feeling on that?
I'm unconcerned if you drink it before you go into the dimension or after you go into the dimension. It effects will be the same.
Then for flavor, even though I'm pretty sure this tastes nasty, at the other hand, Vanessa starts the chug.
Dr. Lazarus seems oddly familiar with being picked up by a larger person and carried. But she kind of says, to answer your question, this, and allows herself to be brought up the stairs.
Sure.
There's a couple swallows and the grimace at the taste of the monster sauce, and then good.
All right. You guys can see down the hall. Currently, you can see Al as he's struggling with something. You see a tear into Dimension X, which is hard to describe, but kind of like a black shear in reality. It's painful to look at.
Is there any glimpse of anything through it?
Not you see. No. Al's blocking anything really besides the tear itself.
Okay.
You do see Charlie seeming to be attacking something and trying to provide help to Martinez.
As they're coming up, Dr. Lazarus tells Vanessa, assist Mr. Martinez. I will assist Mr. Venkmen.
Got it.
All right. I think it is the ghost entity's turn. 2 are attacking Charlie. 1 is going for Al. The other one is entangled. Of that, one of the ghosts hits you. You take 3 resilience damage as it passes its claws through your armor and into you.
Oh, does my armor doesn't reduce that?
Oh, it does.
Okay.
As it passes through your armor, it seems to dissipate some of the force and negative energy associated with it.
Al, do something!
Al, you get hit twice. This one ghost seems to be really mad at you for trying to stop whatever's happening. Take 5.
I reduce 2 damage from each attack.
All right. So take 1 in total.
Okay.
And the portal is going to try to pull in the one you're holding onto. The other one is getting pulled in. You'll use your power. I'll roll to see what I get.
I got an 8 under 14.
I got a 9.
So who rolled?
But you have swole,
Better.
right?
What was that? I do specifically
Yeah.
have swole.
So you hold on to your one person, but the other person does get sucked in before you have a chance to really grab onto them.
Just to clarify, swole is like an equipment merit. How do you call that?
How do I call it swole?
No, I mean like
It's a state of life.
just to explain the system. You have swole.
Yeah.
One of the pieces of equipment is
He's
titled
big,
swole.
and he takes up more space as long as he keeps hitting the gym.
From fitness guru Dan Swanson. And lifestyle coach.
So you manage to pull the other person back partially, and you can see that they've got like
I've got you.
it seems to be a guy. You're pulling him back, and he seems to be like half clothed. It looks like the shoes are put on recently, but other than that, he seems to be mostly in his underclothing at this point. As you're trying to pull him back in.
I'm gonna try to yank him out and then shove him out into the hallway.
All right, give me a power roll.
I rolled a 12, which is under 14.
Very good. You managed to yank him bodily out. He is both scared and catatonic. He is semi-flailing, but has no idea what's happening.
Run like hell, I say, and I just shove him out into the hall. If I can, I'll actually even shut the door behind him.
Do we see this?
Yes, you do see a younger-looking man being pushed into the hallway by Al as he pulls him out of the tear and shoves him into the hallway.
Outside, we've got 1 survivor, hopefully coming your way.
Ready to receive. Let's go with Charlie next.
So there's another person who was pulled into the portal?
Correct.
Is there any way that I can, like, reach in, or would I have to cross over to, like, help get that person out?
You would be forced to cross into Dimension X.
And without a machine, is there any way for them to get out?
Maybe. There's no easy way to do it. You may be able to chip them on site and utilize your own tech to bring them back. It is not a guarantee. It's pretty messy. They don't have the biometrics and the data synced in the same way, that it's just at best a 50-50 chance. But it's better than none.
All right, guys, I'm crossing over.
Hold, Venkman.
I'm going to cross over into Dimension X.
All right. Are you crossing through the portal?
I can just cross with my machine, can't I?
Correct. Either way works. I just wanted to check which way you want to do it.
Gotcha.
It's probably better if you do it with your machine, yes.
Yeah, I'll do it with my machine.
All right. You start typing into your hand console, and you start to phase out of your prime dimension into Dimension X.
Oh, damn it.
You hear from Mike across, we got 1 to go, as Charlie starts going across dimension.
Charlie.
Come with us to Candy Mountain, Charlie.
Vanessa,
How many enemies do we got looking at us right now?
You've got 4 ghost entities.
In this dimension, our dimension, the knucks that Vanessa's wearing aren't particularly effective. However, despite those unconventional weapons, the way that she's warped into her monstrous enhancement, she's capable of doing some damage without any assistance. So in the same way that someone might ready up a shotgun, she pulls back her fist. She's going to try and punch and claw one of these guys away from Al.
Do some ghost punching.
Do some ghost punching.
Got it. Give me a power roll.
10.
Is that under your power? I assume it is.
10 is under 15, yes.
Under 15. Dr. Lazarus.
She extricates herself from Miss Byron and says into her mic, Mr. Warren, I'm going in after Charlie.
Roger.
And she begins the process of crossing over.
All right. So basically almost next to where Charlie is phasing out, Dr. Lazarus starts inputting on her keyboard and phasing out also.
Do I need to roll for that?
No. You can cross over with no problem. It's
Okay.
getting back is the issue.
Gotcha.
All right. Some ghosts. 2 are coming at both of you.
Vanessa does actually make sure to set down Dr. Lazarus carefully. It's not just an immediate rev of the fists. It's I should have probably mentioned that, but she does make sure that like the kind of delicate scientist has her feet. Sweet.
Vanessa, you take 4 resilience and damage.
I have 3 armor from my monstrous enhancement,
So
take one.
Al, 2 attacks hit you. For a total of 11, you minus what? 2 off each one. So take 4 and 3, 7. As the ghosts swipe into you, dissipating on some of your armor or even some of the Dimension X juices that seem to be flowing through you, but claw into the core of your being. They're not leaving any like physical marcations. All right, Al, you're up. The person saved. 2 of your team are going across the Dimension X, and you've got 4 ghost entities looking at you.
All right, which one of you did that? I turn. 11 is under 14.
All right.
And Al turns and body slams a ghost.
Do you have any extra damage effects on this?
No.
All right. You do 11 damage at the nearest ghost, and it dissipates under your attack.
Ghost crushed.
That's one of you.
The other 2 of you are transporting, so I'm going to skip you this round, but you are starting to, you've already started to dematerialize from this dimension. You completely are gone, and you start arriving into Dimension X. Vanessa?
She's going to focus on the one that she's already cracked across the side of. Sorry to call it a face, but she's going to keep on punching.
All right, go for it.
That is 7 out of 15.
All right. You have any extra damage things on yours?
Not in this dimension.
Not in this dimension.
Currently, I do have the resilience, the 5 points of resilience that comes from the monster sauce, I do believe applies, but I don't think that my weaponry does.
Yeah, put him in a body bag.
As the ghost that you're tearing into is actually dissipating in front of you. The ghosts attempt to attack you back. 1 for Al. 1 hits for no damage.
Okay.
Does it ding off his armor?
Yes, essentially, anything that hits would normally do damage, but the armor dissipates the force of the ghost strike before it can leave any more marcations.
That's using that smart intelligence.
All right. Vanessa, you got 1 coming at you since the other one is toast.
Yep.
It hits
Yep.
for 6 before your armor.
Yep. So it hits for 3.
Al, you've got some ghosts that need busting.
14.
Out of
14.
What happens with the push?
ties go to you guys.
So I deal 14 damage.
Correct. Are you basically just bare-handing these things?
Yeah, he grabs the next one, suplexes him right through a wall. You too.
I'm going to assume you want a fresh one and leave the one that Vanessa's been working on.
That's her.
Yeah, that's what I figured. That's what I
I'm not
figured.
gonna-
Vanessa. He's a gentleman. He's left this ghost for you to tear into. There's not a lot left in it.
That's fine. I'll let out a bit of a roar and go to slash.
Excellent.
And that'll be 13 out of 15.
That is successful, and you will rip the ghost into shreds.
Up top. I raise my hand for a high five.
Vanessa does extend her high hand for the high five, but in the awkward way of pushing her wrists and palm out so that you don't hit claws.
It's not how you do that, and I just slap her hand. Let's go.
Out of curiosity, do I have like biofeedback on all of us?
What do you mean by that?
Can I see all of our like heart rates, brain waves,
Like
O2
signatures?
sats, life signatures?
I would imagine you could on chipped people.
Okay.
And once the threat on this side is over and done with, Vanessa's going to announce to transport outside that she intends on flipping to the other side.
All right, you guys have one ghost left.
Oh, shoot. Then I will not do that
It's
quite
it's mostly dead. It just got body slammed.
yet. I'll stay ready then.
The one that took 14 is still up.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's unlikely for you to kill most of these things with one attack without your special extra damages. One ghost is coming back through the wall, tear and shred at you, Al. You fend it off.
Oh, what are you doing?
You duck around it easily. You can go ahead, Al.
That's ladies first.
Al lets Vanessa go.
What are we seeing on the other side?
Basically, you're starting to actually be able to see things as your body is phasing into this dimension. Give me a 3d6 roll, both of you.
14. Which
All right.
Above my power.
Got it.
5, which is under mine.
Okay. Basically, I'm just checking for any extravagant or disasters. So you're able to come across fairly seamlessly. And the first things you're starting to notice is that you are in a forest. And you can't see much beyond about 100, 150 feet in any way. There seems to be an ever-present cloud-like mist in Dimension X in this area.
Do we see the other person that was pulled across?
You currently do not. Vanessa.
Vanessa kind of turns with her hand still up in the air from where her high five had been corrected, and hearing the rebuke of this little ghost brings that hand down to try and end it. A little bit of a acknowledgement of the polite act, letting her equal up the numbers. 16, which is over my power.
Oh, no.
But it is also my number.
It is also your number.
Yeah.
All right.
Fun.
I have the special effect Stasis Orb.
Agent shrugs off next attack directed at them. Something bad also happens.
Mm-hmm.
And at the moment you go to attack it, the juice, the sauce,
We get lost in the sauce.
it flares up and you find yourself not cutting the ghost, but shredding the veil that separates our world from Dimension X. And the hole kind of widens.
Uh-oh.
Al, you're... After you let ladies go first.
I have a 9 under 14.
High fives are just so powerful.
With a quick uppercut, you dissipate the ghost.
Yeah, me and the ghost both look at this tearing of the veil, and while he's distracted, I sucker punch him into oblivion.
And you see that the hole is bigger than when you came in.
I look at Veronica, I'm like,
Vanessa.
I look at Vanessa and cover my mic. It was the ghost. Don't worry.
Vanessa covers her mic back and gives you like a sincere nod.
Yeah. Come on. All right, we're catching up with you guys. We handled the ghost. Everything went good. One of the ghosts kind of did some. They messed up the like barrier a little bit, but I think everything's under control now.
Charlie, the old one, can hear any of that. Because I think you have the Everett phone.
I do.
So Charlie is currently the only person that can communicate between dimensions.
I have no idea.
I know.
But I am going to hit some buttons on my gauntlet and start shifting realms.
The sequence they told you to hit in case when you needed to do that.
Would it make sense to think that by crossing over, we would cross over near where this tear was? Or is that like kind of not how the relationship works?
As far as you can tell, yes. But Dimension X doesn't follow our rules.
Gotcha.
So you could be nearby where the tear is, but you don't.
Doesn't always work that way.
It doesn't necessarily mean it's near visually.
So I'm assuming that we don't actually see this tear.
That is correct.
So what Charlie's going to do is Charlie's going to whip out his scanner and try to, from this side, detect where a piercing of the veil would be.
Gotcha. Also, to note that you and Dr. Lazarus were actually like 50 feet apart in appearing in the dimension. And you guys are basically next to each other when you transport it across.
Yeah.
Give me a power roll.
That's a 12. Right on the money.
And isn't that your special effect as well?
Somebody is immobilized by me, but
Dr. Lazarus, obviously.
Obviously.
Just taken by his ethereal beauty.
You hit her with the smolder, and it's over.
I get it.
would that be that one combatant on their side is immobilized from my tech searching the area?
What I'll actually let you do is you are able to find the tear, though you can't physically see it.
Okay.
You are able to, with your goggles, diagnose it, and you are able to entangle the hole to keep it from getting any bigger.
Charlie shouts out, "Doctor, the hole's over there. I think I can cause a paracausal stasis."
All right, if you can hold it, I might be able to cause a... Hang on, I need some bullshit. Something.
Reverse the non-orthogonal alphans.
Yes.
Always reverse things.
Yep. I might be able to reintegrate the alphan systems.
A total reversal of the non-orthogonal shifts. That's brilliant.
Thank you. It's a work in progress. I don't know if it's going to work, but let's try. She's going to try and close the hole.
Sure.
Doctor, there might be another bystander on this side. Should we close it before we can get them back through?
If we get them out through this hole, it may not put them out in the same place we left them, and that might be worse, especially if they're not chipped. If we can get them chipped, we might be able to get them through.
Understood.
They're in a bad way regardless. 9, which is under 13.
You're able to stabilize the rift that he has kept from closing and able to have it start closing.
So he was able to keep it stable, and I was able to kickstart the closing process.
Yes, that's way better than what I said.
Okay.
And as you're doing this, you guys start noticing phasing in somewhere across this 150-foot area that you can actually visually see. Both Vanessa and Al phasing into Dimension X, enshrouded by a cloud-like fog that covers not only the ground to some degrees, but it blocks sight all around. You can see in the 150-foot square area only, and you're in like a coniferous forest. There's large gaps between the trees.
As Vanessa comes into view, her appearance is just a little bit more monstrous on this side. The dimensional shift brings out all those ugly changes. You can see that her combative gloves have lit up now, so that capacity for violence has increased. You can also see her mouth sort of widens, and the fur seems more ragged.
Do you think you look more natural here? Like things fit together better?
She looks like she is becoming like a natural denizen of this realm. Like, in some strange way, the monstrosity that this realm, this dimension puts upon her is the way that people end up if they stay here. Almost a very changeling approach in my mind.
Yeah, I can see that. And as you acclimatize, essentially, to Dimension X, the thing that you always forget whenever you leave the dimension is kind of the whispers that come across that none of you all hear the same. These voices of your past, voices you've never heard before, always there in the background, just slightly unnerving.
Dr. Lazarus, after the immediate crisis of the gate opening, it is closed at this point, correct?
Correct.
Just seems to stare. You can sort of see the strange reflective quality in her pupils. Seems to go out of sync with itself, briefly. And she just kind of stares where the gate was.
What's going on? Vanessa says as she crosses the distance over.
She continues to just stare.
Hey, you alright?
She blinks a couple times.
Charlie kind of like starts tapping at the scanner, trying to like re-triangulate where they were and what they were looking at to see if he can get any kind of insight into what the fuck just happened there.
Dr. Lazarus, after blinking a couple times, looks to Charlie. Mr. Venkmen, protocol states that you must tag another person to go with you if you are going to cross realms. We do not go alone. Please remember this for the future.
Absolutely. I'm trying to figure out how exactly that tear just disappeared.
We fixed it.
So where are all the other entities? There were things pulling someone through, and there was a target.
In non-Euclidean space, they could be miles behind us, temporally displaced.
Vanessa has some superpositioning attunement, which mechanically does nothing, but flavor-wise, it seems to suggest that I am acclimated to this place. In the flavor of the acclimation, I'm going to see if there's anything that I can see that would let me track if they're nearby.
It's hard for you to navigate the space. It's not natural in any which way or form.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're going to have to rely on using some of the tech equipment
Gotcha.
that Charlie's brought along with you, at least in this area, maybe in something that's more localized.
So Vanessa tries to look out and get a grip on this place, but she realizes quickly that this is a matter of procedure and turns back to Charlie and his expertise.
Using my goggles and the scanner, I'm going to try and look towards the prime material plane and try and figure out how exactly we got shunted in this switch.
So, utilizing the scanners and goggles, you realize that the space that you're existing in is the area that the house is in your space, but it is dispersed. Like, there's a whole estate, essentially, where that house exists.
I'm not sure I have the equipment to analyze this properly, but I think we're looking at some kind of weird temporal anomaly. I'm seeing a lot more architecture back in the prime than we left from. So either something that's been built upon that house or a house that was there originally. I don't know what's going to happen if we just cross back over at this point.
Is your phone capable of reaching Mr. Warren?
I patched through to Mike. Mike, can you grab us?
Blue 42, I have your positions.
What kind of visuals do you have on the house from your side?
House is nominal. No changes.
Are you able to get him?
Yeah.
Ask what year the house was built.
Mike, do we have any information on when this house was built?
Not currently, but we could dig into it.
All right.
If they're studying us like we study them, they may just not have enough information on a recent building to correspond specifically with the newer constructions.
If Mike can get hold of old school blueprints, I don't know if that would be of any help.
Can you also verify that he got the survivor?
Mike, you pulled the one survivor from the house, yeah?
Correct.
All right. Let us know if that debrief brings up anything, okay?
Currently medically sedated.
Never mind then. They're sedated. I don't think we're going to get anything from that person.
It's fine, we got the person. It's likely that anything they saw wouldn't make sense given the lack of training.
So as you're going through and stuff like that, what you're looking at, you can still see across. You still see the house in the same way. What you are seeing on this side is within the same area that the house is contained in is more like an estate. Space is much larger here than it is there.
I think in order for us to get a better read of what we're looking at here, we should probably start to explore this estate a little bit. For some reason, we have a weird disconnect between. I'm not sure if it's space time or.
Is is just the Earth here bigger?
Certain dimensions. I'm not sure that it's all dimensions.
It's like just, I don't know, maybe it's like a big Earth.
My working theory is that this is an overlay of our planet. Sort of like the planet is wearing a winter coat. It appears bulkier, hiding the smaller surface underneath, and if it's a direct translation from from ours, it would have to expand in order to fit around it entirely, which could explain the geographic anomalies.
So if you were to, like, do the math on the distance between the two of you and you guys crossed into here, would that be able to give you an idea as to, like, what space is like by comparison?
It's very possible. What we don't know about this place is much more than we know. It's a theory I'm willing to entertain.
It could also just be that the meaning of this estate has more purpose on this side in Dimension X, which could give this whole area a wider depth than it should have in the Prime.
Vanessa gives her combative gloves a test knock together of fists to see that the light blares, and it does. She's ready, and she takes the front for when people are ready to move.
To your question, Mr. Martinez, Mr. Venkmen and I were standing approximately 10 centimeters apart. When we crossed, we were about 15.24 meters when we arrived.
Alright, so maybe just something to keep in mind going forward in case we gotta figure out, in case we get more clues, right?
I think to that end, we should probably consider a tether amongst ourselves so that we physically cannot get too far apart until we've got this worked out, or we should be very mindful in the meantime. But as this place has a way of altering perceptions, she kind of looks around as the voices continue to whisper.
Don't tie me in. Not with, And Vanessa lifts a claw to the side of her temple.
All right.
This would not be an unbreakable tether. You would not be trapped with us, nor us with you. Or Tony, whoever is in charge.
Vanessa seems willing to consider that.
You're in the space. Are you going after the person, I assume?
I think we just want to find anything. Unfortunately, we don't have necessarily any way to track a person.
Sure.
As opposed to anything else. So I think we're just going to start to explore as a group.
Mr. Venkmen, if we...
I mean, honestly, Doctor, you can just call me Charlie.
Yes, I know. Mr. Venkmen, if we were able to alter the readings of your scanner, would we be able to see the Minkowski fluctuations of a non-chipped individual moving?
It's possible. I'm not really sure how to calibrate it on the fly like that.
Well, as I stated earlier, you are the Minkowski expert.
Give me a second. I'll see if I can do some calibrations to...
I'm gonna have a look around.
Don't go far, please.
I Hulk jump a short distance away, and after landing 20 yards away, he starts kind of having a look-see.
You taking anybody with you, or?
I'm not out of view yet,
Okay.
but
you're also chipped, so even if I'm recalibrating, it should be
You'll know
easy
where I
to
am.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So looking around in this forest, as you move forward, the fog bank kind of moves with you, keeping a equilateral distance. So you're able to see, almost always see as far forward as you could before. And as you're moving across and looking through, your sound and your steps have a weird muffled echo at times and seem sometimes just slightly out of tune. And you're looking up and around and everything else like that. You notice that there are treetops coming out of the top of the clouds.
Hey, anyone want to take a look straight up? Can you see those trees?
Waiting on Mr. Venkman's calculations, Dr. Lazarus will look up.
Same.
Moving around a little bit, you'll find that you can sometimes, and especially when you're looking for it, notice trees coming out of the top of the clouds.
I saw a movie like this once. It was like a whole countryside under the earth, and it was like ground on both sides, top and bottom.
Vanessa, quickly after spotting the treetops, returns her attention to being watched for the techie and the scientists as they're doing what they're doing.
Dr. Lazarus, why don't you roll me a d6? Charlie, why don't you roll me 2d6? And tell me the combined number.
4.
4. 8.
8. Sounds like it's under both of your powers, so without too much time and effort, you guys are able to recalibrate the goggles to attempt to track the human that is in Dimension X with you.
All right. So it looks like Yeah, I think the goggles, we can see the indentations left by primary plane beings in the Minkowski curves. I think we should be headed this way.
Can you ascribe a conventional clock time to it?
That would take a higher level gear to be able to give that.
From where you are standing, we going?
I can tell you that these indentations are meaningful. I can't give you any kind of idea about when that happened.
No, I don't mean can you tell me what time it happened? I mean, are we pointing ourselves at 12 o'clock, at 3 o'clock, at 6 o'clock, or 9 o'clock? From where you are facing.
Given how relative distance between us is shoddy at best, I think trying to assume angles might be a problem. I think maybe just put a hand out on each other's shoulders, and not a physical tether, but just, daisy chain it. That'd probably be the safest.
All right, guys, I'm on my way back.
Affirmative.
Once the group gets back together, they start following Charlie's lead as he leads them through this forest area. Everything seems familiar, but also extremely unusual. The trees bend, and then from one look to another, they have their different sizes, their different shapes, their different colors. They look like they might be breathing at times.
Their colors sound weird.
The colors sound weird.
Mm-hmm.
And taste loud.
The air that you think you're breathing is completely tasteless in some ways. Like, that's more startling that you're used to the air having something to it.
Like when you're breathing in a dream.
Yeah. And as you move through the forest here, there are sounds of movement, of maybe things in flight, maybe the ground being disturbed, but you don't really see anything else moving besides the breathing-esque of the trees.
All right, what's our marching order?
I
assume
was
Charlie's in the front.
Yep, and I was heading towards the front to cover.
If that's the case, Al's gonna be last in line. Take up the rear, keep an eye on you guys.
Dr. Lazarus looks like she was probably aiming for that spot, but she won't object to swapping out.
After a time of walking through this forest, you start seeing the trees thin out more. Actual grass and odd flowers start appearing. And as the fog bank breaks, you see a house, a manor, an estate start to show, made of like a combination of like river stones and brick. It seems to be surrounded by a lot of flowers.
Like a hedge or like a just a
Wildflowers mostly.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
Like a field.
like a field.
Yeah, okay.
There we go. There's a word I was looking for.
Vanessa in this dimension moves more freely. The pain that she seems to experience on the other side doesn't seem to follow her here. She seems unencumbered. Nothing that plagues her physically in the same way follows her, and moving among the flowers and the beauty of this strange space, that becomes even more apparent.
Dr. Lazarus keeps her hand on Vanessa's shoulder, but she's not really focused as much when there's not something she's specifically looking for or attentive to. Al might be the only one who can tell, but like her head dips a little bit, like she's thinking, and she will absolutely run into Vanessa's back if they stop.
The flowers seem to part as you move it through them. They seem to move and bend out of the way. The path opening for you as you proceed.
Charlie holds up a hand. 1 second.
Vanessa stops, and the result?
Dr. Lazarus walks into her back.
Sorry.
Apologies, Miss Byron.
It's okay, sorry.
Hey, Mike, it's Charlie. Are you still copying us?
Still here?
Want to check in on a little bit, make sure I'm not getting out of range of you or anything. Guys, I think this might be a trap.
What evidence do you have to support that?
We're not just following the curvature of the Minkowski curves based on where I think this person was taken. I mean, the actual Dimension X is actually reassessing to make way for us. I mean, I feel like that assumes some kind of intent.
And we know that we're the last of the Dina Rosemary Muhammad Foundation. And we know that it seems like we've been targeted. It's not out of bounds. Well, I mean, I guess there is the director and the overarching system, but, well, some of this is personal, right? And with that, Vanessa kind of like sneaks a glance at Al.
Yeah, you could say that. I'm sorry, Charlie, what were you saying?
Just looking at the path from my goggles, it's the same path being opened up with the flowers, right?
Correct.
Yeah, that path opening up with the flowers is the one that I'm reading on my goggles.
Ooh. The question is, why would they want to lead us into a trap? And who? Who wants to trap us?
What if it's not a trap, but a meeting?
All the data we have suggests that DRM Foundation agents get lost in Woodford Hollow.
Do they get lost in this place because they are hoping to draw us out, or are they just casting a wide net for someone to respond? Would be my question. If there is intent behind this at all.
Well, I don't think that those 4 beings that we ran into before seem all that outside of any other mundane report of ultra-dimensional activity we've ever read. That shouldn't account for the loss of all the agents we've had, so I don't know.
This was supposed to be a very large incursion, and it was fairly mundane, so maybe it's not over.
At this point, though, I think I don't have to be in the lead. He kind of steps to the side and kind of like offers somebody else to take the lead role on the path.
Trade in.
From my perspective, we have 2 options, though I am willing to hear more. We follow this, knowing that it is possibly a trap, or we take readings and report back, thus preserving the remains of Blue 42, sacrificing a bystander who, if we pursued the tracks, we may not be able to rescue anyway, but who we will certainly not be able to rescue if we report back.
Look, I don't know about the rest of you, but when I signed up with the intentions of finding someone that's gone missing. I got a boy out here somewhere. It might be leading us to a trap. This might just be showing us the way to go.
For that matter, I don't think we've actually collected enough data to really give us any kind of clues as to what's going on here. The 4 encounters we had give us nothing. We need to get a little bit deeper if we're going to actually get anything meaningful here.
Every time something like this happens, there's a roll of the dice and it keeps going bad. But if we just leave it unfinished, we're just going to end up rolling the dice again and again and again until bad things happen. So we may as well press on, find what we can. What do you say?
Ms. Byron?
I'm here for one purpose, to help. So, well, I think that what you're suggesting is smart, something to keep in the back of our heads if we have a chance to get out when we're in too deep. Right now, we don't know whether we're in too deep or not. And to me, it's my responsibility to find out. And I think that if we don't, we know the consequences.
I hate that the stupid call was the right one.
Yeah.
If we're operating as a democracy, then I think we have a quorum. She nods at the house for whoever's in the lead to proceed.
Vanessa will. Actually, pausing for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
If I reach down towards the wildflowers, is there any reaction?
They move away from you.
Okay. I do so and observe and keep going.
Dr. Lazarus notes this, both in her data pad. Can we hold a moment?
Yes.
She documents the flora, gets an image of or video of it moving away.
Sure.
Does it move away from her?
Yes.
Okay. She will not attempt to agitate the local flora by trying to harvest a sample. And she will just kind of put her data pad back and rejoin the line.
And once things are ready, back on towards the house.
You find yourselves at the manor fairly quickly once you start making the determination to go there. And you find yourself in front of a big wooden door with an ornate brass doorknob.
I will reach out to open the door.
Is there an initial or anything in the ornate doorknob?
No.
Okay.
No. And as you put your hand on the door and turn the doorknob to open it, you get an overwhelming sense of that gym rubber smell that you know so well.
A familiar smell calling back to someone that I had once lost.
Correct.
Vanessa doesn't realize that she kind of takes in a deep breath, even if the smell's a little gross. It's the kind of smell of sweat, cleaning products, the rubber that usually pads gym flooring, and the way that seats smell. And it's not a pretty smell, but it reminds her of someone who used to go there when they were a lot healthier. She looks briefly sad, a warped expression on her monstrous face, but she grits her teeth and keeps on in, knowing that sometimes the whispers of this place get a bit louder.
Ms. Byron, your vitals spiked. What are you feeling?
I smelled... I had a friend before all this. His name was Andrew. I'd met him through a support network for the chronically ill, and before his Crohn's took over, he used to, hit the gym a lot, and I guess I smelled how he used to smell when he got in the car after. I figure it's just this place, making noises and distractions.
If it gets to be too much, ground yourself with us. Say our names. Remember where you are. Name the equipment you hold. Things that are real.
I'll give it a try, but for now, I'm good.
As I mentioned, the olfactory memory mimicking is fascinating.
It might be caused by touch, so I don't know. Happened when I touched the doorknob.
Noted.
You open the door and you find yourself in a very large foyer. Seems like a big greeting hall of sorts. A large red carpet runs down the middle into a pair of double doors. A number of stone columns. There seems to be doorways to both the left and the right that seem to be closed.
Vanessa turns to the left to try that door first.
All right. Is everyone else following in?
What way does the Minkowski path lead?
Straight ahead.
Out of curiosity, Charlie lets her try the door.
If no one indicates that's the wrong direction, I will proceed.
Sure. Who is second into the building? I know we talked about...
If we shuffled, just everyone went up one and Charlie went to the back.
I thought Charlie was behind me, but...
That probably makes the most sense.
No, yeah.
Or where would you have gone is really the question.
Probably just behind you.
So as you're looking around and looking through your retooled goggles, you seem to hear the sounds of familiar video games coming from the straight-on direction.
He kind of squeezes your shoulder a little bit as you reach for the door.
What's up?
I think we should be going straight on.
Got you.
I think it's tapping at our latent memories of people we've lost.
You're feeling it too, huh?
He's just quiet at that.
What are you experiencing?
Vanessa turns, moving in the direction indicated.
I just thought I heard something from a long time ago.
Auditory.
The only sounds really that the rest of you hear is you moving across these carpeted, in some areas, but mostly stone, the quiet echoes it makes. And you reach the other pair of double doors.
Reach out to open them.
And they open fine, but Al, you seem to hear the sounds of a Little League game at the time as she touches the door.
Al jolts, kind of stiffening and standing straight up.
You too?
Yeah, guess so.
What form is it taking? More auditory. Remember that you're here. Ground yourself in the equipment you're wearing.
I'm fine.
Your vitals say otherwise.
That's just me feeling alive. Let's go.
The doors open, and you find yourself in a hall with statues. Lots of statues. And a quick glance around for those that have been in the area for a while, they start seeming familiar.
Do they look like maybe the files I just ran through on occasion?
Yeah, without too many pictures, but some of the stuff sticks out. There are some statues that are not people, but they're a weird impression. Still made of stone, but like a sound form or something like that. And when you look across them, it gives a sense of memory. of something there, a brief flash that seems to bypass all normal sensory things.
Hey,
Is it positive or negative?
Depends on the memory thing. You could focus on them a bit more, but I would imagine as a natural reaction, you kind of shy away from these
without
weird intrusions.
Without any context, it's just strictly disorienting, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vanessa looks over to Charlie. Hey, these match the files you had me pull from earlier.
Mike, are you still with me?
Yeah, it's still coming through.
Charlie,
Yeah.
yo, are any of these statues chipped?
Charlie takes a look at his veil scanner.
Nothing's coming across besides the chips that you have here, and one that's fading in and out.
No, just our 2.5 signals.
All right, thanks.
Yeah.
At the sound that one of them is still fading in and out, Dr. Lazarus kind of like can't stop a little smile from cracking before she kind of like, no, we're all business right now.
Vanessa starts looking around at the other faces. The idea in her mind of, is the person that I smelled here?
There's a lot of statuary here, and give me a 3d6 roll.
10 out of 15.
All right. You start moving around because it's the only way to really get a clear look. And you're looking over some of these people, some of these memories, and it's tough. But one of these impressions does seem to be tied to some of your memories of that. Not of the person itself, but like you get the distinct impression of your remembrance of the holes in his sweater.
This one feels like what I was talking about earlier, about my friend.
Dr. Lazarus is clearly setting her jaw and begins to document what Vanessa is saying.
He would never agree to, update his wardrobe. Always old t-shirts and worn out sweaters, so right at the hem on the sleeve it always had holes.
She kind of takes a breath and gives a tight nod. She is clearly willing herself to not cry.
But I don't get it. He didn't die in connection to any of this. He died of complications from what he was already going through.
She seems like she's going to try and talk, but ends up just giving a nod.
Anybody else doing anything?
To be clear, Dr. Lazarus is also examining the statues,
Okay.
keeping the memories of what any of them entail to herself.
Charlie looks extremely uncomfortable with all of the intrusions of these random sensory inputs and is trying to just focus on his scanner and the goggles and the information that they're feeding him.
It seems that the impressions are somewhere in the center of this room.
I think that whatever we're tracking is in the center of this room. I don't see a clear path, though.
Maybe it's meant to be felt. I would say, why don't I take the lead? We continue the daisy chain. Tell me if things are looking bad or anomalous as we proceed, but I will simply just go where intuition takes me.
Hey, look, I wouldn't normally bring it up, but you lost someone real close to you, and people mention it, and I know that's still raw for you, so I don't know if you really want to be feeling that.
Oh, I don't. But the pain of missing her means I'm not forgetting her, and I will take that over the forgetting.
Vanessa gives some nods and offers to trade to the second place in the walking line so that the good doctor can take the lead.
Going through, heading towards the center of this area, it starts to slope downwards, incrementally, not sudden drops. The statues and impressions get closer and closer together, making it difficult to navigate without coming in contact with them. And you find yourselves kind of blasted with these sense memories as you have to brush against them to keep going farther. And some of them start becoming clear. Some of them are deaths that happened while in on the side. And some of these are mundane tragedies sometimes. And sometimes there are good memories that come across, children playing, sounds of laughter, but it's all unnerving in one form or another. And as you get closer and closer, you're essentially constantly barraged by these sense images. And you reach the center, which seems to be a clear 20-foot area.
Do we see a person that's been dragged here?
You do see mostly an underclothing woman wearing just her shoes besides her underwear. And the area seems to be surrounded by a number of statuary.
We don't see any other, ultra-dimensional beings, though, do we?
Currently, no.
Mr. Venkmen, how do the scans look?
Charlie looks at them. I'm guessing they look unfortunately calm, right?
For the most part. And as you scan around, you take notice, not in the front row, but a couple rows away, you're fairly sure you can see Zach.
That's a statue?
As a statue.
The scans, they look fine. Do any of you guys see that statue over there?
We look.
Dr. Lazarus kind of follows his eye line.
You see a statue over there. Some of you have been around for a while might recognize Zach.
Oh, he worked here a long time. Your brother?
That's Zach.
I'm sorry.
What exactly is this place? He kind of looks up and around.
I have a new working theory placed strictly on the castle on a foundation of sand, but new working theory as to what exactly we've been dealing with.
What do you got?
I think we should tend to this young lady first, before I expound on my inane theories.
Right. Charlie kind of starts fumbling through some of his pouches to get out equipment to apply chip.
Dr. Lazarus will, understanding that she is a little unsettling to behold, she will let Charlie go first and kind of walk behind him and try and keep her implants out of sight as she does a bioscan on the woman.
She seems to be a younger woman who's out cold. Just absolutely not here. Beyond unconscious, but I have a hard way of describing that. A coma, I guess?
Yeah, coma.
Comatose.
Yeah. She seems okay-ish. Yeah, it's hard to say. It looks like she's taken some damage from the crossing.
About if you had to put a number on it. For purposes of using a device.
She doesn't seem to be bleeding currently. She just looks like she's got marcations. And as you guys circle and secure the area some degrees, I think behind you, past a number of statues in this little forest, Al, you can make out Eddie. You couldn't see him coming through because of the statues screening you, but now that you're looking around, and I imagine looking for him, you do find Eddie.
Eddie! He jumps over to him.
Moving through and past the statues, ignoring the sensations that come across.
Yeah, I just hop over it all.
You lay your hands on the statue. You have the feeling of Eddie and the terror that he went through previously. And you're reminded of the crashing car and those sounds that come across, and just this feeling of wanting to go home, to no longer be here.
I'll get you out of here, I promise. Al bends at the knees and hoists the statue up with the strength granted to him by his suit.
The pillar pedestal that he's standing on doesn't seem to move at all. Like, the strength you're imbuing into it doesn't seem to have any effect.
All right. When he doesn't relent, he just keeps working at trying to figure out how to take the statue.
Mr. Martinez.
No.
I know the instinct is to take it and run.
Instinct. That's the plan.
It was the plan if it was a person. This is a memory.
Who's to say it's not a person again when we get them back across?
None
None of this makes sense, right? There's no exact rules, so it's worth trying, right?
My sophisticated wild-ass guess, as Ezra would put it. This is an ultra-dimensional realm of our fears, our memories, and all that is abstract. It cannot be defeated. It cannot be drawn away. What is here is permanent.
But that's what it is here, right?
Because it's not over there anymore.
But it could be, right? We can just take it.
How did your son die?
My son didn't die. He's here somewhere, and I found him.
Doing a quick scan of the statues, do I see my wife?
No.
Look, that statue, that was like my friend. I know my friend died from complications brought on by his Crohn's disease, so I don't know enough about what happened to your son, but I know what happened to my friend. And if they're in the same place, I don't. And Vanessa kind of trails off.
You know what?
Brute strength may not be how you carry him out.
All right, then how do I carry him out, then?
Let's try and figure it out.
All right, figure it out. I'm doing what I can do.
Charlie,
Yes.
as you're preparing to chip the girl, you go to move it, and it seems to be stuck.
Hey, I can't move her.
I'll come over and try to pull her up.
Give me a power.
Okay. I mean, I'm a little investigative in case she seems to be fused to the floor.
Right. I mean, if you both want to give me powers, that's fine. If you're both trying to.
No, Charlie will stand back and let her do her thing.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just going to let you know that because we've seen these statues being seemingly rooted in some way, I am a little worried that...
Break her off the floor.
Yeah. That thought is being measured and acted accordingly.
You're trying carefully. I gotcha.
Yeah. That is a 8 out of 15.
All right. Carefully placing your claws in and around, you're sliding under the body.
Mm-hmm.
You pull, and there is some give, but as you turn, you see that her skin in some places stick, and then as you can see it, as you're about to like stop because you're like, oh, this is bad, you see essentially protoplasmic mass.
Doctor
Lazarus comes over and begins investigating.
So as you say doctor, and you turn around the area that you guys are in this 20-foot area, a bunch of protoplasmic tentacles come out of the ground in between the cracks and like become fully formed masses.
How large?
Probably around 5-6 feet each.
Oh, okay.
How many tentacles are there?
Probably about 7 or 8.
I shift my posture to be defensive.
Charlie lets out a yelp.
And they move to start attacking, enveloping, biting you.
Entangling and immobilizing us? That's my gig.
Audacity.
Al will cock the ontological blunderbuss shotgun that he's carrying, level it on the first tentacle that comes by, and is intent on blowing it away.
Very good. Let's start with Vanessa.
All right, so this time, though the Nux were useless in the prime dimension, here they deal double damage. So that same light that had blinked on intensifies as Vanessa goes to the one that's in front of me. Does it seem aggressive?
Yes.
Then that's the first one. I'll go to suppress it so that it cannot get to the rest of the group.
Give me a power roll.
That is a 9.
All right. So with your mechanical nux, you do a total of 18 damage to the tentacle.
Gross.
Taking a severe chunk out of the protoplasm that it's made out of, splattering it across the statues and the ground as you fend it off. Let's go with Al.
What was the name of your weapon again?
Oh, yeah.
It is an ontological blunderbuss shotgun. I have a 6, which is under 14, deal double damage. Mm-hmm. So I shoot it for 12.
You blow a chunk out of the protoplasm as it opens up a maw and tries to bite onto you. Large fangs coming from its mass, and you just kind of blowed away that part of it, though the tentacle still remains. Doc.
So Dr. Lazarus gets right back to business, hardens her expression. She had allowed herself to be a person and feel things for a minute. That's gone now. And her implants seem to throb to life in a pulse of light. She looks at the closest tentacle and twirls her fingers just a little bit as the odd reflective quality of her eyes intensifies. That is 11 out of my 13.
All right. Sounds like a pass.
And as her eyes intensify and her fingers seem to be playing almost like a harmonica, but without an instrument in her hands, chunks of this thing begin to age and disintegrate and necrofy.
Very gross.
It's super gross. Also, I do double damage here, so that's 22.
Do we all?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I don't.
What about you, Charlie? Are you also super special here?
Nope. The woman we followed here is turning into a statue.
Seeming like.
Is there parts of her that are still flesh?
Yes.
Before that turns to stone, he is going to chip her.
Okay. Give me a power roll.
That's a 9.
All right. You're able to quickly perform a process that usually takes a bunch of time to chip her and hopefully get her out of here.
I figure even if I can't get her out of here, there will be lessons to be learned about chipping one of these statues.
I see.
Perhaps even at least give us a way to track this estate if we're able to get out of here.
Got it.
Because it does say, which means you or your corpse can be tracked.
Wacky fun.
Wacky fun.
Al. Across your goggles you see, and across your instruments, a Alphen wave blast comes straight for Al. Al, choose 2. Thin the veil. Immediately attempt to reintegrate. Suffer superposition attunement.
I don't know what any of those mean. So, second 2.
Attempt to reintegrate means going back across Dimension X.
Yeah, but I'm confident I'll fail.
That would be bad.
I picked. I don't know what to tell you, Tim.
Well, you weren't sure. Yeah.
So a superpositioning attunement has multiple boxes on the sheet. I have one like automatically checked off. It makes your power 1 higher for each
yeah.
one that you have,
It
and
also
it gives
means
you no mechanical benefit.
It gives
kind
you
of.
1 + 1 more gear.
Yeah.
Okay.
Roll 3d6.
10 plus 2 is 12.
Bad transfer. Your UD reintegrates with your original body, but it is not a smooth process. Pick 2. Painful, slow, or incomplete.
What's involved with each of those? Since
Painful, incomplete.
All right. Hit by the Alphen wave blast from the monster you're here, Al is suddenly disintegrated out of this plane. It hits him, and you see him go out, but not like you guys phased in and out. Like various pieces came off during the process as they came about. Like if he was made from bricks, a bunch of bricks came out of the middle of him in various places, and just like all at once.
Mm-hmm. Oh. Is this something we're all familiar with?
No, this is
Okay.
bad.
Like I realize.
have I autopsied people this happened to?
Maybe it's hard to say.
At least some of these people.
Take 10 resilience damage as you come across, and you
Does my armor apply?
no. You also felt something when that wave hit you. You felt Eddie, and part of what may have happened, if you agree with this, is that you tried to bring him with you, and what you ended up being is a number of your pieces are now gone. There's a number of incomplete pieces to you. Essentially, you're bleeding out of various places, including probably internally.
Okay.
But maybe you might be able to get him across. Vanessa.
On my turn, Vanessa will attempt to finish off, if she can, this tentacle that she's already damaging. A wild look in her eyes, a snarl escaping as she's realizing that the group is getting disintegrated.
Go for it.
That is a 12, which is under my power, and doubled to a 24.
You completely claw away the tentacle in front of you. That's when you come to notice some of the pedestals are starting to get smaller, and your tentacle is growing back.
I think it's growing from them.
Al.
Well, hopefully this thing isn't missing pieces, and I shift back.
Give me a power roll.
10.
Hitting the buttons, you start to reintegrate back into Dimension X. And as you take a look around, you notice that you are actually on the roof of the former place you were at. And you start transitioning across. Give me a D6 roll.
4.
It'll take 1 round. Doc.
I think I'm going to be an asshole.
All right.
I look to one of the statues, not one that any of us know,
Mm-hmm.
and I start eroding it.
Sure. Give me a power roll.
12, which doubles to 24.
All right. You start eroding it, and after a few seconds or so, it starts to fall apart. Seems to be bleeding, and you start seeing like bone and viscera and whatnot. Charlie, as that happens, you notice your chip indicator.
Oh. The statue that she's eroding is chipped.
Correct.
He shouts out, "It's an agent! Stop!" And then will proceed to try and give some kind of covering fire against this tentacle writhing mass of horror. A 11, but a -1 on my attack roll, so a 10.
The tentacles pull back underneath the ground there. Under the center where the girl was, and probably not too far from where some of you are. You guys can determine how close you were to the girl still.
Charlie's very close to the girl.
All right.
Probably the closest with fighting those tentacles.
The two of you closest, give me a 3d6 rolls.
I honestly have no idea where I am, but y'all jumped on the grenade.
Yeah, that seems good. I feel like you had moved off to talk to Al.
I definitely moved off to talk to Al.
An 11 total.
Have a 9.
All right. You're both able to jump out of the way as the stone in the middle of this goes away and a huge protoplasmic mass is underneath you.
What?
Attached to the girl. And there seems to be a lot less. There's area to walk around, but you start seeing like it crumble underneath, and it seems to be
Seems to be a Legend of Zelda boss fight.
essentially turns into a pit. It's the only thing I can think of. Like you,
The Sarlacc pit.
yeah.
It just descends into ultra-dimensional void.
Charlie.
Oh god, no!
Charlie, you become an Everett node.
Oh no.
Your agent has become a superpositional focal point, and all ultra-dimensional beings will try to do violence to them.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Mentioning
Oh,
that,
boy.
tentacles attach you.
Oh no. That's a lot of tentacles.
1 hits for 4 damage.
So that's reduced to 2.
Yes. You find yourself a vibrant lure to the monsters. You can feel like this call come out from you to ultra-dimensional beings in the area. Vanessa.
Is this call apparent to non-dimensional beings?
You definitely feel it too.
Oh, I feel it too.
Yeah.
All right.
You can resist it.
Well, I will certainly be resisting it. And
But he does seem tempting.
The monstrous part of you is like, eat that motherfucker.
Yeah, basically.
there's a strange wolfish instinct that feels true. But the human side of me that survived past the experimentation and trauma is going to go ahead and place myself over where he is and try to fend off the danger.
Roll those power dice.
That is 8, doubled to 16.
You shear off a number of tentacles coming for Charlie, spattering both yourself and him and nearby statues and more protoplasmic goo. Al, you're here. You're integrated back in Dimension X. You're in the same place.
I see a big gaping maw.
There's a big old protoplasmic form with tentacles and mouths that form and close and fangs that form and go away. And
I call out, I think these people can be pulled back. And then I aim the shotgun into its mouth. That is 13, which is lower than 14. I will deal 26 damage.
your ontological blunderbuss shotgun
Correct.
blows the mass of protoplasm into less of a mass and much more of just a scattering of protoplasm.
Strips away meaning and being from the beast.
Scattering it, dropping the tentacles fall from the positions they're holding into just like puddles of goo.
What are you? Nothing. So how do we get them out?
Is there anything else left to hit?
Nope, not here. Not currently. I mean, you could keep hitting the protoplasm mass if you really felt like it.
I don't.
Okay.
I might try to sample it later.
I just
Oh, so
imagine you
it's
like spooning it up.
it is-
and, like,
It is currently dissipated.
it is no longer attacking.
Okay.
The goo is still all around.
Oh yeah, Charlie is like whipping the tentacles that were like writhing on him off, and like just kind of going and just kind of will continue to unload the rest of his clip from the Glock into the mass.
Very good.
Al just tosses the shotgun over his shoulder and heads back to the group.
Does it have a ceramic part to it?
Didn't check.
Okay.
I didn't buy these things.
Just shatters.
The entire shotgun.
It's just the entire shotgun just shatters.
Director Edwards sheds a tear elsewhere.
All right, so she will look around. Who looks fucked up?
Vanessa actually looks okay. I mean, some of the empowerment that transferring into her more monstrous form here and the sauce gave her is worn down. But apart from that, she's doing pretty good.
Charlie looks like he usually does after having gone on a mission, which is kind of roughed up and exacerbated.
I feel like Al is bleeding from his eyes.
I have 3 hit points left.
You got an obvious target.
He just kind of sits down next to the statue of his son, leans his head against it. His breathing is shallow and...
Actually, you lose him from time to time.
So first things first, she takes out the white light resonator and blows all 10 uses on him, so he heals 10 resistance.
Al, you feel a lot better. You feel like you're
Oh, would you look at that? Thank you.
your inside
Should've
feel more in the
stretched
right
before
place.
coming in here.
Mm-hmm.
I always forget.
Especially at your age.
Thanks, I think.
Clinical. Charlie, how did you know that was an agent?
When you started disintegrating it or whatever that tech was doing, their chip appeared on the scanner. I think whatever this shell is around them, it's not stone, but it's some kind of material that's shielding any kind of contact with our location devices.
All right, so it's a chitinous interference device. Got it. So if we can erode enough of the shell, we can chip all these people and maybe get them home.
I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of these people are chipped. Looking at them, what kind of clothes are the statues wearing, or is that not really evident?
Some are wearing like normal civilian clothing and stuff like that, but some do look like they're geared up with some of the weird science shit you guys brought.
Okay, so we are looking at some agents and some civilians.
I got a thought, but it's risky.
Risky's better than inaction.
Sometimes the actions that we take over here end up thinning out the veil.
Mm-hmm.
If we can get a rip in that veil and pull these people out, if we can defend that hole that we made, make sure that nothing else gets through it, then...
If we make a tear here and the ultra-dimensional beings in this area are aware, we could be in the middle of a very, very serious breach.
Yeah.
Is there a way to use the surroundings here to our advantage? Can we funnel them through anywhere? Charlie, what do you have on the scans? Point. She did say Charlie.
This whole area looks like it's set up to be interfering with the gear that we have. I mean, I'm pretty sure this was in fact a trap. They knew exactly what we have in terms of resources and are blocking our ability to maneuver or understand this area.
You know, if all of these guys have the technology to cross, they may already have the means of getting back. We just gotta undo whatever this is.
That's what I mean is, can we erode enough that...
At least the agents that we have here, maybe we can erode enough to reveal their machines.
Well, maybe Mr. Mr. Warren can bring them back.
What do you think? You tested on one of them. Can we erode it without killing them? Or, I don't know. And Vanessa's kind of looking at the viscera that resulted when you tried. She's not sure. I mean, is it obviously someone who's dead? Is it someone that's
they're
hurt?
dead now, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I wouldn't trust myself to.
Actually, Mike, do you still have signal with us?
Still coming through.
Hey, I've got a chip that I want you to get a location fix on. I think it's a retrieval of a corpse. If you guys can get that back to base. Here, I'm sending you the serial number on that.
Roger. Let's see what we can do. Looks like we got something here. Transfer wasn't good.
May not have been the transfer. Did you get it?
We got something here.
We see the remains of the statue thing reintegrate.
Yeah, mostly.
Is the statue-esque material, like a shell of that, left behind?
Parts of the things that were more covered by the statue thing are still there. The more exposed ones. It got messier.
I don't know that we can do anything at the moment, guys. We're going to have to research this. I think we need to take as much data as we can and get out of here. We've at least got this area chipped, unless that thing comes back and covers back over. But
what was that thing?
An agent?
No. He points at the tentacles and chunks. What is that?
What is that, Tim?
Protoplasmic mass?
Well, what was it like driving it? Like, was it at all sentient?
Maybe.
it was ultra-dimensional.
It was definitely ultra-dimensional. It's definitely a mass made of protoplasm. And,
A malignant protoplasmic writhing mass.
yeah.
Probably at least beta level.
It consumed part of the base of the statues in order to make itself stronger.
Yeah, like a spider tying prey up to feed on it later when it needs it.
That's an apt comparison, yes.
So, like, if this thing is gone, that means that they're safe here for now. But how long are we talking here for this research? I don't want to wait a long time to get my boy out.
It really depends on what kind of resources we can finagle out of Director Edwards.
All right,
If it's just us doing the research, I mean, I was a physics minor. This is really,
Yeah, it's bullshit that you hear. Call them up. They need to put all the resources into getting these people.
You were a business major, correct?
yeah.
See if you can get the director on the line and put it in terms of cost.
Well, we won't be able to do that until we get back to base.
You don't think we can...
No, with the way that this whole area is spiking, we can get on shortwave through the Everett phone to Mike, but I mean, I guess we could have Mike contact base, but we can't talk to him.
Then let's play telephone. We don't have the tech to be able to patch through a call.
The Everett waves are...
Yeah, they're finicky.
All right, so we call Mike. Mike calls him with, like, his phone or something. And with the comms we have with Mike, he tells us what the guy is saying, and then we tell him how to respond.
Let's get it done.
Hey, Mike, have you been listening in all this?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to work.
Can you give it a shot?
I mean, I can give the director a call. I just don't... I'll see what we can do.
Just let him know that we're sitting on a huge pile of Foundation assets and agents that are potentially recoverable, but also potentially in the grasp of at least a beta level malignant protoplasmic writhing mass.
Yeah, I'll try to get that across to him.
Let him know it'll cost him a lot more to recruit new and train new agents than it will to recover these ones.
Vanessa,
Hello.
please give me a power roll.
Okay. That is an 8.
All right. Your monstered up nature and everything else like that is kind of looking around, keeping an eye on things. And that's when you notice the statue directly behind Charlie turn its face towards him and start opening its mouth.
Vanessa snarls and moves to interpose.
As you interpose, you are covered in intercessed foam vortices.
Well,
The word foam being interspersed and all that makes it so much worse.
what does that mean, Tim?
I don't really have a good word for it, so I feel like you're being hit with, like, I don't even know. Let's,
Alien puke.
yeah, like acid foam. Let's go with
acid
acid
foam.
Like
foam.
bile.
Great.
Yeah, let's go
Nice
with that.
foamy bile.
Not calling that band name Erica.
You will take 9 damage.
Does my armor apply?
Yes.
I will take 6 damage.
And now you must choose 2. Phase out of the dimension. Interseas foam spatter. Damage to everyone. Or sucked into the vortex.
Well, I will absolutely be picking sucked into the vortex. If I get to choose with like a narrative intention and what Vanessa would want, she's trying to block the damage from the rest of the crew. So
Sure.
the one that I would be avoiding is the one where other people get hurt.
All right. As you're covered in this acid alien foam, you are dissolved away in such a way that you are no longer present with the rest of them.
It's temporal dissolution.
Pretty much.
Like, so parts of you are being burned away to a slightly different time. Ah.
That statue arms transform into long blades and continues to grow out like 2 or 3 or 4 more limbs on each side, just made of blades.
Okay.
And it's looking right at you, Charlie.
I'm still the focus of
You're
all
still
the
an
ire.
Everett node. Yep.
Charlie pulls up his pistol, which clicks because he spent all of the rest of the rounds fighting at the protoplasmic mass. Proceeds to drop it and then just tries to wrestle this thing off.
All right.
Am I able to get between him?
Currently, it's Charlie's go. So,
Okay.
An 8.
really hoping for that 12 that time, weren't you?
Would have been sweet. Or not.
A
'cause
game
it's
where I
acid.
roll low on dice means I'm actually pretty good at like succeeding, but I'm also not very good at like doing effective things.
Jack of all trades.
You know, I'm a survivor.
You push into it, like kind of pushing it away and pushing you away. So, like, you've created some space there. Doc,
Is this thing trying to grab Charlie or just trying to, like, chop him?
it doesn't really have fingers.
So chop chop it is.
Makes that a simple answer then.
Slashy hands.
Well, then I'm just gonna decay it from the inside out.
Sure.
What does that look like?
Not like much until she's done, really.
But like the action of you doing it, is it like a mental focus? Like how does it like?
Again, it is her eyes
Yeah.
doubling down on that odd reflective quality. Like, she is thinking faster than physically she is capable of thinking and processing faster than she is capable of processing. And therefore the light intake in her eyes is having to go different places than normal.
Gotcha.
And in the meantime, her hand is moving almost like she's playing the strings on a violin.
This is the most bizarre fucking game ever.
Oh boy, kids.
Oh boy.
Oh no.
What'd you do?
Oh no.
A 17,
What?
which is 4 more than my 13. And sure looks like
Like that veil might be a
Veil
little
thinning.
thinner.
Yeah. The area around you in various places cracks like a mirror as you have pushed yourself too far, too fast, and instead of disintegrating the target, you have disrupted this time space.
Sure did. Fuck that up.
You've used a little too much power. Al,
With the BBR focus ring, I slug the thing in the mouth. 9 is lower than 14. I'll deal 18 damage. And deliver a haymaker to the monster.
it goes flying backwards and you've semi-lost it in the statuary, but it soon quickly starts to fly over and come back, its blades evident.
Yeah, I see you.
Vanessa,
What's going on, Tim?
you're in an area of pure blackness. And you cannot move.
Recalling what was said to me earlier and not knowing whether it could in any way work, Vanessa murmurs the names of her companions to herself repeatedly as she tries to sort of, I don't know if it's swim free, punch free. I don't know how she feels like she moves, if she feels like she moves at all within this blackness. But she is attempting to manifest an escape, whether that be by willpower or physicality.
Would you like to activate Tony?
I mean, if it's certainly, I would say this fits
Specific criteria?
specific criteria, I think, if you would.
Sure. You activate Tony. You black out.
As the control leaches out of Vanessa's eyes, Vanessa seems to disappear within herself, and her eyes become those of a lethal killing machine. For the next 10 minutes, approximately.
Somewhere in the area, you hear a large amount of, like an explosion of rocks. Somewhere not terribly far away. Charlie. The bladed beast thing is coming for you.
Sure does.
One hit. That'll be 12 damage.
My armor counts, right?
Yes. Yes, it does.
Oh boy.
Charlie, it lances into you, and all of its pointy bits are sticking into you at once, and it opens its mouth. This is just a bad one. I need
Not the foam.
It's definitely the foam.
No.
Not the beast! Keep your mouth closed, man.
Oh, it's in my mouth already. Whoa.
Interstish foam vortices
Okay.
can either phase out, everyone else can take damage, or you can be sucked into the vortex. You have to choose two.
I'll pick the first two. I'll phase out and you guys take damage.
Sounds good.
Everyone else take two in the area.
Not me, right?
Not
Good. Oh, okay.
You are phased out
Okay.
as you feel your body dissolve and lose coherence in this dimension.
Okay.
Still together, just not here.
All right. Do I have an action?
Yeah, it's you.
I'm going to reintegrate. Sorry, guys. I'm out of here. So, reintegration roll?
Reintegration roll.
Oh, boy.
What a time to roll high.
13. That's above my 12. What a time to be alive.
This is extremely painful. There's no, like, you pass. Like, you go back, you're going to come back fine. But
No, I'm laying on the ground bleeding and like just like holding my like stab wounds.
yeah, it's the
My
reintegration.
ultra-dimensional stab wounds.
Yeah, the ultra-dimensional being was still in you. So that's causing some, like, real pain.
Sure.
Real pain, really. But, like, your body won't black out.
You sure about that?
Yeah.
You
Not until you
sure about
reintegrate.
that?
Yeah. Until you reintegrate, you don't black out from the pain.
Oh, I'm still in the process of reintegration.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Like, it gets out of you, but basically, it's a bad time. By the way,
Oh boy.
you're in the dark somewhere,
Okay.
and then you black out.
Oh, so I do black out.
Yeah, when you get back on the other side, you will black out.
Okay.
The time that you are transitioning,
Called it.
just pain. Just pain. Doc, you broke the world a little bit.
It's fine. I can fix it later.
You want to go for 2 for 2?
Yep, I think I do. The thought process happening currently is that if I take the time to fix it, it's going to try and foam me. If I take the time to put the boot in the pooper, that's less time it can spend foaming me. And a chance that maybe it'll die. Then I think I'm going to try and repair the world because Al's pretty good at putting the hurt on stuff.
Sure. Give me a power roll.
Oh, that's not good. Well, that'd be a 15. Involuntary transference.
Make a reintegration roll.
Oh, shit.
Well, that's a 9, which is under my 13, so it's gonna go bad.
Non-resonant manifestation. Your UDE remains in a ghostly form outside ultra-dimensional space. Your original body will die in 24 hours. So what you guys see is her body collapse.
Is the ghost still there?
You're a ghost in the real space now, in the real world now.
So you see Charlie just bleeding. You're like, oh god.
Oh, he's passed out.
You show up in the dining room of the house, of the original house. It also becomes quite clear to you when you get there that you have no body.
She's a ghost in the prime dimension.
You're a ghost in the prime dimension. Thank you for the better wording.
I run to the truck.
Al.
Yo. All right.
So you're by yourself.
Yup. So I'm going to quick pull the quantum syzygy simulant rocket and fire off a shot.
How many weapons do you have?
I packed a lot of weapons.
He hasn't brought out the Telefunken U-47 yet.
14.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Which will double into 28 damage.
You rocket this thing in the chest. It explodes. It loses parts of its limbs and everything else like that. It gathers itself back up to try to stab you.
Okay. How's everybody doing over there? Oh, he's reforming.
Well, only one person can hear you, and they
it's
can't
you.
respond.
I don't know any of this, dude.
Yeah, I know. And at that moment is when you see running across the tops of the statues to come down and double claw / knuck this thing.
I kind of pause like, what the? Oh.
What'd you get?
That is... Yeah, that's 13.
That sounds under.
Yeah. Normally...
She's double.
Yeah.
Now half that. So she's just double.
Thank you.
Right,
You said
but-
that far quicker.
It's 26.
Doc, you're in the real world.
For clarification, do we have a way of yeeting the ghost back to its correct body?
The only person that might be able to do that is you.
That's why I'm asking you. Is that a thing I know how to do?
Maybe is the answer.
Sounds like I'm going to roll for it.
Currently, your biggest problem is your body's not in the same dimension as you.
I know. But Charlie's a node for things going back and forth, right?
Charlie is an Everett node. That's correct.
And the veil's a little thinner.
And I did accidentally crack the barrier between worlds.
So you know that Charlie seems to be in a closet upstairs. Because you can tell because you're now kind of an ultra-dimensional being. So
Yep.
you know where Charlie is.
All right, I'm going to go find Charlie and try not to think too hard about the ethical morality of using my buddy to yeet myself interdimensionally.
We're buddies?
I used your name, man. I don't use names for people because they get hurt when I get on a first name basis. Case in point.
Okay.
Give me a power roll.
It is a 9, which is under a 13.
So what is happening is you actually lose access to your equipment that is attached to your body for the most part. So you're using this based off your, psychic impression upon the prime world. So you're kind of just screaming into his brain to try to get your point across as best you can by focusing your psychic will upon him.
Charlie.
He doesn't seem to be responding to his name from you.
Mr. Venkmen.
Okay, now Charlie, that seems familiar.
Yeah.
Buddy, I need you to let me through.
Okay.
My parts are on the wrong sides. I think you can help me through. Can you help me through, buddy?
Give me a second. Al, on the Everett phone. Al, start her reintegration sequence.
Hey, puppy, what's up? What do you need me to do? How do I do this?
The doctor's reintegration sequence started on her machine.
69420.
69420 is her code.
Nah, you kidding. Yeah, I get her.
Al,
Yo,
you're up.
no enemies in view?
I mean, there's a werewolf on one of the other enemies. So yes?
Yeah, she got that. I will crouch down over the doctor, punch in 69420, and attempt to send her on her way.
Erica, roll me reintegration again.
9.
Balls.
I'm an Everett node. Oh, nope, that's an attack fail.
That's an attack failure.
Non-resident manifestation.
That means it worked.
Does it?
'Cause
That's what got me out before.
I'm thinking. Hold on. Your body takes 8 damage.
Okay.
It's not close to you though. You You feel it. It's downstairs.
Charlie Venkmen, you're a good man. And she will get downstairs to her body.
How much resilience you got left there, Charlie?
2.
Take a point.
What? What?
As her screaming into your brain.
Wait, take a point of damage? Or?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Down to 1.
Can I get back in my body?
Not yet. Vanessa, you rip and tear.
6. Doubled to 12, put
You-
simply.
Holding it up by one hand, you rip it in half, chucking it into the void.
The creepy biochemical, like, engineering that makes up the supports for my structure is just glinting in the light as I shred this thing.
Now there's no more monsters.
That we can see.
Al, what are you doing?
Rocket launcher goes over my back. Vanessa, how you doing over there? Vanessa.
She doesn't at first look at you, and then she looks up at you. It's not Vanessa.
God damn it. All right, who's conscious? Anybody.
Seems to be no response.
Anyone conscious?
Can I get to my body to him
You can
yelling on and like
You can get to your body. Make me a power roll.
For fuck's sake.
9,
Ooh.
which is
Yeah, same.
That's been a theme for you tonight.
How much resilience you got left there, Chief?
I have 20 left.
Okay. I want you to take 3 more resilience as you try to forcibly reintegrate with your body.
Okay.
The word is painful. As you're trying to psychically overlay into your abandoned body.
As Dr. Lazarus begins the process, she just starts to feel all the grief and the pain of Ezra's death as her mind settles into the space without all the defenses that she normally keeps up. She doesn't sleep, so she doesn't have to do this whole bullshit as much. She feels the pain where she put her implants in with limited anesthesia so she could make sure she was doing it right. And she feels her stomach gripping as, you know, she hasn't eaten enough and is just too depressed to give a shit about it most of the time. And she kind of sits up with a I hear you. Can you read me?
You can't hear him.
Okay. Well, then it was a hallucination. Having been loosely aware of where Charlie was, she starts running up the stairs again to find him.
Al,
You.
you have a very pissed off werewolf in front of you.
Does it look like it's trying to attack me?
It probably will soon, yeah.
It's fucking AIs, man.
It's like the parts of Vanessa that had survived as they should in your prime dimension just seem like they're getting swallowed up by whatever this dimension's done to her, and the AI seems to be fueling it.
I don't remember. Was it said whether or not she can get out of it?
No.
You do know that she had done it before. That had been mentioned.
Well, I'm not going to just shoot her.
All right.
So instead, I'm just going to attempt to step back. Give her a few minutes. See how she feels. 12.
You're trying to, like, hide yourself among the statues?
No, as you're integrating.
Oh, you're reintegrating. Okay. Bad transfer. Your UDE reintegrates with your original body, but it is not a smooth process. Pick 2. Painful, slow, or incomplete.
Painful and incomplete.
All right. You immediately transfer out of the process, and it is like your nerves are on fire. You come across screaming against your own will back on the roof. Nah, probably not. Let me roll.
In a bathroom.
In the living room.
Sounds good.
Can I do like basic first aid on this guy?
Sure.
Or attempt?
You can stop the bleeding. Correct.
Okay.
He stabilizes.
Okay.
Anybody here? Hello.
Mr. Martinez, we're down here.
Where's here?
I think it's a closet. She throws the door open and starts like banging on the door.
All right, I'm going to head over.
What's going on that side?
AI bullshit.
Tony's in charge?
That's what it looks like. I stepped away to give her some room.
Probably the best thing you could have done. All right.
Pop open the rocket launcher and start reloading it.
Dr. Lazarus goes and stands near Al, probably leans against something. The places around her implants where they're embedded into her scalp and neck are starting to bleed. She either doesn't notice or doesn't care. If you want to get your son out, I'm going to try and help you get your son out.
You hurt.
And you can see it now. Nothing different than before.
Yeah, I want to do this the right way, you know?
I want you to do it the right way. I want you to have the reunion I'm not going to get.
What happened?
I have some of her memories. That's why there's chip fuckery on the scans. There's a little known aspect. I wasn't really sure it was going to do anything, except maybe make me feel a little closer to her. But there's some of her memories in the chip. I see them more clearly when I'm over here. It was something not unlike what we faced just now. But she came back, and her last memory was that she wanted to see my face one more time, and I couldn't get there fast enough before she died.
Damn. I'm sorry I had to go through all that. This whole company kind of makes a mess and doesn't really take any responsibility for it.
They're trying to put Band-Aids on a gunshot wound. It's sort of like the equivalent of kids playing in the yard, someone falls, breaks their arm, and someone starts yelling to get some leaves.
I'm gonna be real with you. I don't know which side's responsible for making these holes.
I don't either.
Sometimes, a company tells you that it's the Band-Aid, but it's really the knife.
Yep. I don't believe that Director Edwards is completely forthright. I think there's probably some dark lexicon of dirty company secrets that they're keeping.
Definitely. You see, I think that maybe the experiment isn't about what goes on in Dimension X. I think the experiments are what happens to us.
I'm also not sure Dimension X is actually an other.
He does a with his hands, like pantomiming his brain exploding, mind being blown. So what happens now? How do we do this?
I don't think it can be us alone. I don't think it can be one cell. But until we have more cells working towards a similar goal, and people are notoriously hard to govern without a singular cause. Hence, Director Edwards probably sitting on a book of secrets. Not literally, but I think we keep looking. We keep learning. And not ideally, maybe we have to go native.
It's fair. Why don't we get Vanessa?
She should be ready about this point.
Check on Charlie. And we get this boss on the horn and let him know. You need to do this, or we're leaving this place unmonitored. Fuck you, buddy. Don't leave these people abandoned.
What would be the end goal of that?
Let's get them help.
Men like him don't take well to my way or the highway.
Yeah.
I think
It's his road, he picked it.
I think we get him on the phone. We tell him he has something that he needs to see.
I'll put it this way. If I got on the phone with him, I'm gonna cuss this motherfucker out and tell him to get help. So why don't somebody else talk to him?
My thought. We tell him we have things we can't say until he sees it. And then he suffers an unfortunate accident. And then we get someone in place who can actually help.
You wanna... Shit, man. I was talking about, like, quitting my job or something. I wasn't gonna go that hard. That's stone cold.
My wife was a golden retriever where I am a street cat. She was everyone's friend. She made me better. And without her, I don't belong in this world anymore.
Well, what does she want you to do about this?
Doesn't matter what she wants. She's dead.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm asking.
I know what she wants. I know what she died for.
She probably wouldn't want you killing someone. I think that's a compromise you can make.
I'll tell you what. If he's a person, I'm not gonna kill him.
Whatever, we'll just rough him up. It's fine.
If he's one of those things...
You think he might be one of those things? Fuck. No, I thought he was just some fucking douchey white guy or some shit.
He can be both.
Nah. No. No. You are either smug white guy who doesn't know what he's doing, or you are extra dimensional. I don't even know how to describe that shit. One of these things I can describe.
I don't think Ezra would be against me killing a douchey white man, but I already made my bargain with you. If he's a human...
Yeah, that's the bargain. If this guy's human, we're not hurting anybody.
But my end goal is that we get all those people out.
Yeah.
And I personally don't care what I have to do to get it.
We like rough him up a little, but that's the line. Nothing like a sucker punch.
Shrivel his balls.
Nah, what is going on? No. Just, I'll take care of the roughing up if it comes to it.
That's probably fair. Good cop, bad cop.
Yeah, we should probably have Charlie do the phone call. Charlie, what the hell? What is happening to Charlie?
Charlie's a little hurt right now. I wasn't going to make him talk.
After your conversation, you find Charlie in a closet, bandaged up.
Well, I haven't left him to go talk.
It felt like you went down. You specifically said you went downstairs to Al.
Okay, so I left Charlie to rest.
Well,
I probably gave him some drugs, and I have his stats that I'm monitoring.
What the fuck happened to Charlie?
I happened a little bit to Charlie, but most of it was the other.
Stabbed.
And foamed.
And acid foamed.
And I kind of used him to get back to my body.
My head hurts.
I'm sorry.
My stab wounds hurt.
Well, let me get my go bag. I go to the front and pick up my go bag, unzip it. I take out some bananas. I head over. I'm like, hey man, get some potassium. And I'll peel it for him.
So about
I'm allergic. No, I'm
So a number of minutes later, let's put it that way. Vanessa, you come to. Rebecca, you have to roll a d6. Just roll it.
5.
You are not possessed by your AI.
If I come to and regain control of my body, I feel Tony settle back into the mechanisms and let me have my reign. And I discover I'm alone in this place. So I'm still on the alternate dimension side, correct?
Yes.
All right, looking around, what do I see? Do I see hints that my friends are not here? Has anything changed? Have I eviscerated something? Anything? What's up?
There's not much left here. You're far away. You're in the statue room. That becomes clear. And you don't see anybody. And you're kind of just out around the edges somewhere.
All right. Well, I don't have a phone that works across the dimensional border. So I'm going to go to the coordinates of where I know respond back to the house. I'll try and come across.
All right. Reintegrate.
5.
Well, shit.
You reintegrate normally.
What? Okay. That sounds ominous as hell, but I don't have reason to know that. So
Yeah, you reintegrate normally with no pain or anything else.
actually, I do have reason to know that. I've done this quite a few times. How many times has it been normal?
Almost none.
I do have reason to be suspicious.
No, you're just getting good at it
With
now.
your number of equipment on you, yeah, almost none.
Feeling no shift in myself, I would like to examine myself to see if I can tell what happened.
You seem to be fine, other than, the wounds you took previously.
Clearly perturbed, but more herself again. She now looks more like a person, even if she is a twisted version of the woman she used to be. And suspicious as she is, she's here to try to meet up with her friends, so she looks for the truck that Warren would have been in.
So you're inside the house. You're up in the attic, and you're pretty sure your communications will work on the side
Okay.
in short range.
Then I will radio in, and I say, "Is anyone there?"
We read you.
Good to hear. Where are you?
Downstairs.
Yeah, I'm going to transport Charlie to the van.
I'll probably hear the noises of footsteps and getting the retrieval noises as well out of the closet. So I think I can join up with people if that's cool.
Yeah. So you guys get back into the box truck.
Hey, Vanessa.
Yeah.
I believe I owe you the front seat.
Are you sure? You're pretty torn up.
Yeah, I'm good. Don't worry.
And Vanessa claims shotgun as her right.
In the back of the truck.
He climbs to the back. Oh, God, my back.
I'm gonna have a lot of questions about what happened in the meantime, but I feel like we can leave that for when we're less bloody.
Dr. Lazarus pulls out like a fleece blanket with the Vassar logo on it and wraps it around herself and kind of sits on the bench. She pulls out another one for each of the guys.
When we get back, let's call this fucker. Get help for everyone.
Good idea.
Anybody got a beer?
That's
Check
later
cooler.
tonight, man.
Hey, you got a date to get freshened up for.
At least we all made it back.
We did.
Home in the same day.
And with that, you guys drive off back to Woodford and your HQ on your little houses. But underneath your box truck, clinging to it, brought back inadvertently by Vanessa.
When I failed that roll
When
with
you-
that 5.
Yes,
Through the thinned veil.
through the thin veil
And I helped.
is the protoplasmic goo moving into position, waiting for its opportunity,
Forming little tentacles.
forming little tentacles.
Ugh.
And that's been the Crushers.
Wacky fun, guys.
Wacky fun.
When we're not phasing between dimensions, Path of Night is usually a Vampire the Masquerade podcast set in the world of darkness. Avelardo, Al Martinez, was played by Lex Lopez. Charlie Venkmen was played by Garrett Gabby. Dr. Euphemia Penta-Lazarus was played by Erica Webb. Vanessa Byron was played by Rebecca Steigelfest. I'm your storyteller, Tim Davis. Recording by Rebecca Steigelfest. Editing by Rebecca Steigelfest. The music used was When You're With Me by Grand_Project. You can find them on Pixabay. The Crushers was written by Jason Morningstar and edited by Steve Secchity. You can find the game available at Bully Pulpit Games. Make sure to subscribe to Path of Night on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can help support the show at ko-fi.com/pathofnight. Follow also on Twitter at Path of Night Pod, Facebook at facebook.com/pathofnightpodcast, or email us at pathofnightpodcast@gmail.com. See you next time, agents.
Marcations?
Sorry, visual marks.
No, it's a science term.
It's a sciencey thing.
It's a numbers game.
I got caught up, okay?
Look, it's a proven fact that the more syllables a word is, the smarter it is.
Mm-hmm. The smarterer.
Yep, it's
Yeah.
smarterer.
Smartations.
Yep.
I'm using that.
Smart spectation. Smart expectations.
Smart,
Al does has none smartations.
smart twisms. Smart wisdoms.